brats, and veterans, render a hand salute as the United States Marine Corps Recruiting Station Color Guard from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, presents our nation's colors. Here to offer today's invocation, please welcome President and Senior Chaplain with Motor Racing Outreach, Billy Malden.
Heavenly Father, as we rise up to recognize your presence in our lives, we're grateful for your love and your goodness and your mercy that surrounds us daily. Be with these drivers, teams, officials tonight. Bless every night body with a safe night of racing. And when I pray for the fans that are here tonight, Lord, that they would have many great memories. And Father, as always, we remember the men and women of our armed forces and first responders, both here at home and abroad. We ask you to be with them and their families, keep them safe. May your peace and your presence surround us all. In Christ's name, amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania native, Robin Schneider.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the heart?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live for this Friday evening's edition of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series here on KRC. Truck Series has just 3 races to go in the regular season coming into this one here today. And with that being said, let's take a look at the point standings before we get this race at Pocono underway in a matter of minutes. Christian Eckes is our current regular season points leader. He's got a 40-point cushion over Corey Heim, almost a full race ahead, sitting in a very good controllable spot to be able to maintain himself in first to try to get those additional 15 playoff points for winning the regular season championship. Again, only 3 more races remain in the regular season. Corey Heim currently sitting second in points right now. Had a big penalty at Charlotte where he finished second in the race but got DQ'd, so lost his 35 place points and his 19 points in the stages, which included a stage win in there. That is the difference in him being first and being second, as he sits currently, again, minus 40 points. Those are the only 2 drivers really in contention for the regular season championship. When we go to the actual playoff standings, 10 drivers can qualify themselves into the playoffs through the NASCAR Truck Series points system. And as of right now, only 4 drivers, are locked in with wins. 3 for Christian Eckes, who has the most in the series. He's the most recent winner on the circuit as well, winning at Nashville a couple weeks ago. Led every lap of that race from the 3rd place starting position. Corey Heim is second in the point standings, as I mentioned, overall. Has 4 wins. He has more wins than any other truck regular. Second, third technically, behind him in the 2 truck is Nick Sanchez with 2 wins on the season. Ty Majeski still winless on the year, but has the highest amount of points of anybody that does not have the win to lock them into the playoffs. So he's looking pretty good on points. Rajah Krutha's locked into the playoffs with a win. Everybody from 6th through 10th on the current driver standings are still winless and trying to get themselves in with a win potentially today. Tyler Rankrum is ahead of the cut line on points, so is Taylor Gray, Ben Rhodes, Grant Enfinger, and Tanner Gray. Tanner Gray is the last driver to the good on the cut line coming into this race. He's only 14 points ahead of Daniel Dye. Dye coming off a career-best second-place finish 2 weeks ago at Nashville, so we'll see what he can do in today's race as he tries to pick up where he left off from a few weeks ago. Stuart Friesen below the cutoff line as well. He's only a few points further back than Dye. He's currently sitting minus 17. Matt Crafton is currently 54 points below the cutoff line into this race. That's about a full race worth of points that you could score one driver over another in the Craftsman Truck Series. And more than likely looking like he's going to have to win a race or get a lot of help if he's going to point his way in. Crafton, the three-time champion, has never missed the playoffs in the Craftsman Truck Series since the playoffs debuted back in 2017. Chase Purdy also in the race for that final playoff spot as he comes in minus 61 points, also looking as if he may be in a must-win situation. So that is the point standings outlook coming into this race today. Some other statistical categories and leaders in those said categories. I mentioned Corey Heim has the most wins this year with 4. 2 drivers are tied for the most stage wins this year, that being Christian Eckes and Ty Majeski, who frankly, again, does not have a win. Most top 5s on the season is Corey Heim. Most top 10s on the season is your points leader, Christian Eckes. The driver who has led the most laps this season with 614 is Christian Eckes. Again, 150 of those came last week at Nashville, where he ended up leading every lap from the pole in that race. That put him to P1 on this list, and actually went into that race P1 on the list, but only added to it, obviously, with that dominant performance. So can he have another dominant performance again this week? He's starting on the pole. Qualifying was washed out earlier this afternoon. A very minimal practice for all these Truck Series teams, so we'll see how they'll take on the tricky triangle with all that lack of track activity that was originally scheduled for earlier this afternoon. It's the first of 4 live commentary streams on the weekend. Of course, this 175-mile, 70-lap truck race right on tonight. We will have live commentary beginning at noon Eastern Time tomorrow as well for NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying from Pocono, followed by the NASCAR Xfinity Series race, which will take place at 3 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow afternoon. Our Cup Series main event will be on Sunday, and that will begin at 2 p.m. Eastern with our pre-race show. So those are the start times for all the streams this weekend by way of that. We'll also have a NASCAR 07 stream, which will begin tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where I will be racing as Jimmy Johnson in the quest trying to get him his first career Xfinity Series title on that NASCAR 07 game. We've got a custom schedule season going on there. Again, that will begin at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight, so a little doubleheader for your Friday action. A little fast Friday action here on the channel. Appreciate everybody tuning in, though. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Our goal is to get to 100 likes on this stream, even with an early Friday stream being at that 17 likes so far in the early going. Wade Selensky, Jeff, your 7, Candy Cox, Dan Bowers, thanks for tuning in. You are the first few in the chat. Yeah, that woman singing the national anthem had the same last name as me. I thought it was spelled the same and everything. I feel like you see a lot of like Snyders, like SNY or SNI. I don't see a lot of like Schneiders with the SCH. There's actually somebody I work with that does have the same last name as me too, and I don't know the guy, so I haven't seen him at like one of those family reunions growing up when we used to go all the time. Like I don't know him, so starting to run into more, I guess. Also, another NASCAR YouTuber, Ben Schneider, that is got the same last name as me. Also a NASCAR guy. He's from Canada, though. He is Canadian. So at least we're separated country by country in that aspect. The Schneider clan is starting to pop up more and more. We'll go through the starting lineup of this race once we get the command to fire engines, which should be any second from now. If you're wondering where you can watch the race visually, it is on Fox Sports 1 this afternoon. Again, FS1 taking care of the rest of the Truck Series coverage for this season. And even the next TV contract also will have the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in hand. All right, engines firing as you heard right there. Christian Eckes on the pole, about to lead the field of the green in a few minutes. Just a couple parade laps separating ourselves from the drop of the green flag in today's 70-lap, 175-mile race at the Pocono Raceway. This race has been extended 10 laps from prior years, usually 60-lap Truck Series races. Here at Pocono this year, the race has been extended by 10 laps. That is an extra 25 miles. Could make a big difference in maybe the fuel economy. Definitely going to add an extra pit stop. This was a race that used to be one pit stop. Now probably going to be two. But we'll see how that pit strategy plays out over the course of this one and see if there's any input from the actual Fox booth for Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons on the call as to what kind of strategies we'll see as well once we get further along the show. Here's the starting lineup for tonight's CRC Brakleen 175 at Pocono. Christian Eckes, as I mentioned already, the most recent Truck Series race winner at Nashville from a few weeks ago, is now going to be starting on the pole after qualifying was washed out earlier today. The most winningest driver in the Truck Series this season, Corey Heim, will be starting on the outside of the front row in second. Raja Caruth and Tyler Ankrum will make up row number 2. Ankrum still looking for his first win of the year. Caruth looking for win number 2. Daniel Dye and Ty Majeski in row 3. Dye second 3 weeks ago now at Nashville, a career best. Looking to build on that here this afternoon. Ty Majeski, who's won the most stage wins this year, still looking for lock himself into the playoffs. He's above the cut line into the race today. He'll start inside of row 4. And also above that cutoff line on points without a win is Grant Enfinger, who is also in that row. Nick Sanchez, Stuart Friesen in row 5. Sanchez looking for his third win of the season. Tanner Gray, Jake Garcia will be back in row 6. Row 7 for Matt Mills, Ty Dillon. 3-time series champion Matt Crafton looking to build on that points deficit today. He's on the inside of row 8. Chase Purdy, similar points deficit for him. He'll line up in the same row as Crafton. In row number 9 behind them will be rookie Lane Riggs and Connor Mosack. Taylor Gray and Bailey Curry in row 15. Row 16 will be Zane Smith and Dean Thompson. Smith, a Cup Series regular, of course, in the field here today. And that 91 truck. Spencer Boyd and Lawless Allen in row 12. Row 13 for Timmy Hill and Chris Wright. Another Cup Series regular, Ross Chastain in the 45 truck for Nice Motorsports today. He'll be on the inside of row 14 with Luke Fenhouse to his outside. Mason Massey and Brett Holmes will line up in row 15. Row 16 is Thad Moffitt and Mason Maggio. Sage Karam and Brian Dozit in row 17. Karam making a truck start here today. Usually see him part-time in the Xfinity Series, but part-time in a truck here this evening. Stefan Malozzi and Justin Carroll in row 18. That will round out our 36 truck field here today. So again, Jamie Little along with Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons on the call. Again, the race is on Fox Sports 1 if you're wondering where you can find the visuals. Robert Perkel, Earl Arnold Jr. also welcome into the stream here as of late. Our brief pre-race show is already done. Now we're just waiting for the drop of the green flag. So here's some late breaking news and some late updates on this race prior to the drop of the green from that FS1 booth.
Canadian truck. This closest 4 points below Cardinals preaching characters. He said, hey, we're going to have to try something to get our strategy. We have to do something different to give ourselves a shot at getting a win to keep that streak alive. So keep an eye on how the 88 team handles this race.
Yeah. Michael, how about the Craftsman track description?
Crafted getting crafty.
Yeah.
Waltrip getting all descript with you here. Look at this racetrack. Each turn, different making, straightaways, all diversely different. A lot of speed to the upwards of 185 miles an hour as they head down into turn 1. That's why they call this place the Tricky Triangle. It's tough to get a hold of. Lane Riggs and that backup truck's going to have his work cut out for him. Yeah, let's take a look at our race analysis. This race is longer than we've ever had here before. 10 extra laps, 70 laps, 175 miles. You see our stage 1's 15 laps, our stage 2 15 laps. That final stage, again, longer than ever, 40 laps. And you see the pit window somewhere between 30 and 32 laps. Normally, you would say, okay, there's going to be a pit stop on the final stage. And there will be a pit stop in the final stage. But the strategy is going to be all over the board. This is what's happened over the last several years here. You see 3 times
It took 2 pit stops to win this race. 4 times, only 1 pit stop. We know we're going to have at least 2 pit stops, but when they're going to come, I talked to Jeff Stankiewicz, Grand End Fingers crew chief. He said, I said, how thick is your playbook? He said, about 47 pages. He said, because it's dynamic. It changes every single lap depending on where you're running, how your competition's doing. We know a lot of those guys around the bubble need those stage points. But if you get to stage points, it's going to be hard maybe to win that race if you get to stage points in the second stage. So there's a lot on the plate here.
There's so much going on with those crew chiefs and communicating with their drivers. Oh, Phil, throw in weather, by the way. What if we get a shower?
That's 7 other pages of that playbook.
2 onboards tonight, Phil.
Yeah, we're going to ride along with Tanner Gray. He's going to start the 11th. This is the Operation 300 Toyota. 14 points above the cut line coming in here. Extremely important race here for Tanner Gray.
Let's hop on board with Daniel Dye. He's starting his race to stop suicide.com truck in the top 5, 5th position. He's going to have a good race here today. He knows how close he is to the playoff bubble and what he needs to do to get there. He's going to roll from 5th. I'm looking for a good day for him.
Green flag will drop for race number 14 of the season. That's coming up next from Pocono, Pennsylvania.
All right, so a little commercial here before they get the drop of the green flag underway. We'll stay right here with our coverage until we get this thing started. And Christian Eckes, Corey Heim, 2 most winningest drivers this season. The 2 championship frontrunners will be on the pole for this race. I do have Corey Heim winning this race. A season ago, Heim led the most laps in his Pocono debut in the Truck Series. Did not get the win. He was passed on the final lap at turn 2, the tunnel turn, by none other than Kyle Busch. Well, Kyle Busch isn't in the field today. And Christian Eckes, although he's had good runs at Pocono the last couple of seasons, getting 2 top 10s, he hasn't led any laps here before. Looking for his first lap sled at the track here today. So Corey Heim knows what it's like to run up front here. Clean air is king, especially when you go to Pocono Raceway. It doesn't matter what car, what series over the years. That has definitely been the case. So having the track position and having 2 trucks that are very capable of winning pretty much anywhere out there at the front, it's going to make for an interesting race. Now, Rajan Caruth, I think, is kind of that 3rd favorite to win this race today. And if you had to pick some sort of a sleeper pick to win, I would say it's him. He's been very, very fast on the intermediate tracks this season. Team has kind of struggled on short tracks, and the one road course we had back at Coda earlier this season hadn't had that great of a run there either. But the intermediate tracks, 1.5 mile tracks and slightly bigger than that here at Pocono, 2.5 mile triangle. Although it's a unique racetrack, it still is an intermediate. They've had a lot of speed, just raw speed, and Rajan's getting good finishes. Of course, his only win this year on an intermediate track back at Las Vegas in the spring. So I do look for Rajan Caruth to have a pretty solid run today, and I think he can be a threat for the win if something happens to Eckes Heim, especially if we get a pit road speeding penalty. Maybe fuel mileage comes into play with this weird race length, with the race being added by 10 laps compared to what we usually see. Rain could be an issue. We obviously had practice limited, and qualifying was washed out completely due to practice. In fact, only 12 trucks, were able to make a 5+ lap run in practice today, so we don't know what kind of long run speeds are going to look like for a lot of these teams. Stage splits will be 15, 15, and 40 for today's race. That fuel window 30 to 32 laps. So the first 2 stages, same length that we usually would see at Pocono, the Truck Series, but the final stage an extra 10 laps, with the race itself being an extra 10 laps. And that will force these teams into having to pit more than likely in the final stage, unless we get a bunch of cautions. And that's where the fuel mileage could come into play. Up to 22 likes. It's definitely the earliest Friday stream we have had this season. Usually it's a Friday night truck race. Actually, usually the truck races at Pocono are ran as a doubleheader with the Xfinity Series. That is not the case this weekend. Obviously, this truck race taking place right here on a Friday. Lights are out on the Pace truck. We will be going green this time by, and the leaders are just getting out of at the tricky triangle. 8 of the last 9 races have been won by KBM right here at Pocono. Well, Kyle Busch Motorsports is no longer. The door is wide open for a lot of these teams to try to take advantage of this situation. Of course, they were bought out by Spire Motorsports, so maybe you could look there. And Raja Karuth obviously racing at Spire with a win this season. Again, one of those front runners, I'd say, in those trucks here today. Overcast skies, again, scattered rain showers in the area, so hopefully we get all 70 laps in today. No lights at Pocono, so only have a little less than 3 hours of daylight to try to get this thing in today. 70 laps. Here we go. Eckes on the outside of row 1 will lead to the field to the green. We are underway at Pocono. Green flag is in the air. Big block by Corey Heim down on the bottom of the racetrack. Karuth trying to make it 3 wide headed into the first turn, while the race leader getting a big push off the initial start of Christian Eckes is clear. Heim is 3 wide middle into turn 1. Lost a ton of positions trying to pull out a line to make the block on Karuth. Karuth lost a couple positions as well from the 3rd place starting position behind him out of the top 5. Another big block by Heim. He goes all the way to the apron now, trying to get positions back 4 wide on that second straightaway, headed for turn 2. That was an aggressive move by Corey, trying to get some of those spots back. He does get 2 of them, getting past Nick Sanchez and Daniel Dye. As both Heim with a late dive into turn 3 as well, as he looks to make a pass on the 71. So both Raja Karuth and Corey Heim going backwards off the start. Heim got a couple of those positions back in the next corner, as he is now currently 6th. While Raja Karuth fell out of the top 10 and is currently in 12th. 9 positions lost on lap 1 for the 71 truck. Slide job pass into turn 1 there by Taylor Gray in the 17 truck. More 3 wide racing just behind him off the exit of turn 1. Opening lap led by the pole sitter, Christian Eckes. That outside lane had so much momentum on the front stretch. The inside lane was so uncoordinated. And by the time they got down into turn 1, everybody who pretty much started on the bottom row at least lost a few positions there. And the outside lane prevailed. Heim is now up to 5th place. Stuart Friesen has lost 2 positions on lap 2, going from 5th to 7th. Daniel Dye up to 6th place as well. So still got some position changes going on inside the top 10. Again, everybody being very aggressive off this start because this first stage is only 15 laps. Trying to get the job done and quick to get yourself in position to score stage points, with the stage points being awarded to the top 10 positions per usual. 1 point per position there. Nick Sanchez passing Ben Rhodes for 8th on the racetrack. Corey Heim getting by 2 drivers on the same lap from 5th to 3rd now for Heim as he charges forward. Past both Enfinger and Majeski. Enfinger Majeski side by side on the Long Pine straightaway now. This main front stretch, longest straightaway in NASCAR here at Pocono. And while they were side by side drafting each other, big run from further off of turn 3 behind him by Daniel Dye. He soars past both the 98 and the 9, and Dye is on the move to 4th place. Momentum and maybe confidence brewing for the driver of the 43 truck. Remember, he comes in 14 points below the cutoff line after a 2nd place finish at Nashville in the last race. Really ate into that deficit on Tanner Gray, who ended up having a rough go at it last race. Ended up getting in a crash. Not a lot of stage points. Lost a couple spots in the standings overall was Tanner, and now he sits 10th. And right now, Tanner Gray's in 10th place. Daniel Dye in 4th. 14 points is a difference. He can try to make that up big time here in stages 1 and 2. And we don't know if we're going to see any pit stops during the stage break, before the end of the stage. It's going to be split kind of like the road courses would be, where you'll see drivers pit before the end of stage 1 and stage 2 more than likely today. More so, I think, in stage 1 than stage 2, with the final stage being outside the fuel window. But in this first stage, you will more than likely see drivers pit with 3 or 4 laps to go in the stage to try to leapfrog those that will pit during the stage, and if they pit at all. Some teams may try to run the first 2 stages outright. May need some help with some caution to be able to make it that many laps, but we'll see. Ross Chastain on the move after starting deep in the field, with qualifying getting rained out earlier. Ross is up to 17th, battling with Matt Crafton just outside the top 10. makes the pass on Craftsman. And the 7 truck, Connor Mosak, also trying to pass Craftsman off of turn 3. Already to lap 6 in this one, 10 to go in stage 1. Just over half a second lead at the front of the field for Christian Eckes over Tyler Ankrum. Corey Heim is still sitting in 3rd and fast charging. He's the fastest truck on the racetrack right now. 4th place is Daniel Dye, Ty Majeski 5th, Grant Enfinger 6th. 7th is Stuart Friesen, Nick Sanchez 8th, Ben Rhodes 9th, Tanner Gray is 10th. So that's the top 10 on the leaderboard here on lap 6. And those top 3 drivers within about 9/10 of a second of each other. But the bigger of those gaps being between 1st and 2nd place. Heim about a lane wider through turn 3. So allow him to get a little bit more speed off the exit of the corner and down this long straightaway. Plus the effect of using the draft on Ankrum as well. Big closing rate for Heim. Headed for turn 1. And he's not going to look to make the pass here. He's going to go a lane wider through turn 1 as well. 18 going to slip up, try to take his line away in the center of the corner. Heim now battling through dirty air. Gets up off of turn 1 and trying to build that momentum back in the draft again for turn 2. Heim looking to attack. Nope, fakes the move into turn 2. Goes back into line. Right in line on that bottom lane through turn 2 behind Ankrum. Into turn 3. Ankrum rolls the middle groove, maybe trying to play a little defense and taking that line away from Heim. Heim on the left rear corner panel of Ankrum, gets him a little loose, never touched him. Bit arrow loose for the 18 truck, and Heim is underneath side by side for position now. Heim went away from the side draft off the exit of the corner. Now he goes up to side draft him late on the straightaway for turn 1. Big dive by Heim, sending it through the first turn, grips the bottom lane beautifully. And Heim is clear by about 3 or 4 truck lengths off the exit of the corner. Daniel Dye quickly closing in for 3rd place as he's keeping pace with Corey on the racetrack. Daniel Dye making some moves here in the early going. After starting in the back half of the top 10, he is up to Ankrum after Corey moves to 2nd. Full screen commercial break on Fox Sports 1 for the CRC Brakleen 175 at the Pocono Raceway. Again, Christian Eckes is the race leader. Corey Heim a couple tenths quicker than Eckes that last lap. And that was even with making the pass for 2nd. He was still a couple tenths quicker. Lap times between Ankrum and Eckes pretty even that last lap. They both ran, actually about a second slower, my bad. I saw the 0.4. It was a 55.4. But yeah, so the top 5 at the commercial break now is Christian Eckes 1st, Corey Heim 2nd, Tyler Ankrum 3rd, Daniel Dye 4th, and Ty Majeski 5th. So that's the top 5. Lap number 8 of this one, we'll take our first ad break. You're listening live on KRC to the Craftsman Truck Series race at Pocono. Caution free in the early going. And with the short stages here at stage 1, again racing to lap 15. Pit road closes with 2 laps to go in the stage. When the race leader gets to the start-finish line with 2 to go is when pit road closes officially. So if we see anybody try to short pit before that to potentially leapfrog in the positioning order, I'm sure we'll see at least some attempt to do that. I'd be shocked if nobody does. The drivers further back behind the race leader, they're going to have to pit with about 4 to go. And if they wait till 3 coming to 2 to go, there's not going to be enough time. Eckes is so far ahead of him. You'd have to be within a couple seconds of the race leader to be able to pull that off. Corey Heim a half a second quicker than Eckes that last lap. 55.0 by Heim. By far the quickest truck on the racetrack. He's cut the deficit between himself and Eckes to about 0.4 of a second. That's amazing. That was 2 laps ago. Now 0.3 of a second quicker the last lap. He's within 1/10 of a second of the race leader. It's all during the commercial break. 6 to go in the stage. And now they're back from the commercial break. We have 5 laps to go in the stage. Lap 11. And working into turn 2, I believe. So 4.5 laps left in stage 1. Corey Heim is reached the back bumper of race leader Christian Eckes. Looking to battle for the Stage 1 win. Lap truck in the way on the bottom. Both trucks have to go to the outside through turn 3. More lappers will be in the way to come. Brian Dozit was the first to go a lap down. Eckes trying to break the draft on that front straightaway, guts all the way down towards the bottom of the racetrack. Back to the outside. Heim goes to follow him all the way through. Heim trying to get right on that left rear corner panel of Eckes, get him arrow loose. Eckes shoves up the hill through turn 1. Side by side for the lead now on the exit of the corner. Same move he tried to pull on Ankrum to make the pass in turn 3 a few laps ago for second. Ankrum still holds on in third place though, couple tenths ahead of Dye still. Losing time on the leaders. And Dye pulled out a line going into turn 2, trying to make the pass for that third place position the last lap. Heim cleared Eckes through turn 2, but Eckes tries the crossover move back to the inside into turn 3. Heim's going to shut the door on him in the center of the corner, get a great drive off, and Corey Heim looking to sail away. 3 laps to go in stage 1. Now Heim breaks a draft on the front straightaway, and he's about 2 to 3 truck lengths ahead of Eckes. Everybody trying to break the draft back there. Enfinger battling Majeski for 5th. Enfinger actually just made that pass for 5th during the commercial break. And then Tyler Ankrum still in 3rd behind Daniel, in front of Daniel Dye, excuse me. So about 2.5 laps to go now in the stage. Didn't notice anybody pitting that last time by. We'll see if any of the leaders pit this time by before pit road closes. Corey Heim definitely looking like the fastest truck on the racetrack right now. Dye got a pretty good run off turn 3. Ankrum doesn't go way down the track to try to break the draft this time. Daniel Dye maybe looking to the outside or potentially to try to arc his corner off a little bit better than Ankrum. A big arrow push by the 43 through turn 1. Ran that bottom lane, same lane as the 18 of Ankrum in front of him. Truck shoved way up the racetrack. He ended up losing time there. Now he's got to build the momentum back up, and he couldn't get through turn 2 as well as Ankrum because the lap truck was on the bottom lane for Dye, while Ankrum had him clear getting into the corner. Now it's going to be next to impossible for Ankrum to lose 3rd place here without a major mistake on the final lap of the stage. He's built up nearly a second gap between himself and Daniel Dye. Couple mishaps on that last corner by Dye. On turns 1 and 2. So again, final lap of stage 1 now. Corey Heim ahead by about 1.3 seconds over Eckes. We'll have to wait to see who's going to get the free pass to the end of the stage. Justin Carroll, Brian Dozit, Stefan Malozzi, and Spencer Boyd have all gone a lap down. Bailey Curry's the last truck on the lead lap. I think he'll be able to stay on the lead lap to the end of the stage, which would mean Justin Carroll in the 90 truck would be in the free pass position. Those trucks are well off the pace to be going a lap down on a 2.5 mile track in less than 15 laps. My goodness. Here today at Pocono. And for Corey Heim, that's his 5th stage win of the season. That puts him in a 3-way tie with Christian Eckes and Ty Majeski for the most stage wins this year at 5. Speaking of Eckes, again, he finishes 2nd in stage 1. Tyler Ankrum held on for 3rd. Daniel Dye 4th. Grant Enfinger 5th. Ty Majeski 6th. Nick Sanchez 7th. Taylor Gray 8th. Stuart Friesen 9th. And Tanner Gray rounded out the top 10. So all those drivers getting 1 point for their 1 point per position, for their stage 1 finishing result. 1 point for 10th, 2 for 9th, all the way up to 10 for Corey Heim winning the stage. Playoff point for Heim as well. Gives him 20 playoff points on the season. through just now over 13 races. 14 once the checkered flag falls here tonight. Now during the stage 1 break, it'll be interesting to see who all comes to pit road, as nobody pitted before the end of the stage. Actually, it looks like Bailey Curry did, because it showed he had a 13-second pit stop, which was why he was the last truck on the lead lap at the end of that first stage. He was a few seconds out ahead of the leaders. So we'll see if that strategy works for Bailey Curry. Spencer Boyd on lap 5 looks to have retired from the race due to a mechanical issue, as he is 11 laps down. So Boyd may be out of the race, and I believe he is the first and only driver out so far. Justin Carroll, as I mentioned just before the stage caution, will get the free pass, being the first truck 1 lap down at the yellow. And the stage break will be our first caution of the day, again at lap 15. So again, Bailey Curry was the only truck that short pitted before the end of the stage. Stayed on the lead lap. So we'll see how it works out for him. B. Dobson, Super B-Man 1 / Tim Irvin. Billy Kramer, thanks for tuning in. Anyone notice start finish line? Says Truex Jr. No, I didn't actually. I haven't noticed that. I'll have to pay more attention to it. Pretty neat. Of course, it'll be in Truex's final season. Former winner at Pocono 2 is Truex. He won here in his 2017 championship winning season, if I'm not mistaken. I have even won here before that as well. It's 28 likes on the stream right now, so be sure to hit that like button if you haven't yet.
All right, CRC. Jeez, I think you guys steam coming out of your heads. Do you pit or don't you?
Well, I talked to Scott Zipadelli right before the race started. He said he felt like they were going to stay out till the end of the second stage. He said, I want all those stage points, but he's sure staying to the inside. No, he is going to stay on the racetrack. I think we get back outside the top 10, and I think, yeah, why not come in and make something happen? And you see Nick Sanchez is going to be the lead truck that comes in and just about going to bring the rest of the field with him.
Mixed bags.
Roger Caruth back there, he decided to stay out, gave some traction. What this does for you, Phil, you can now make the race on one more stop. They run Josh to the middle of the third stage and come to pit road. So a lot going on pit road.
For the 99 of Ben Rose, their decision was to come and pit now. Ben not all the way happy with that truck. Coming over the radio saying there's 2 loose, 4 tires, fuel, and they made a track bar adjustment to help out the 99, Amanda.
Yeah, Josh, we were talking about Nick Sanchez's aggression. You'll see them pitting here in stage 1. That 2 getting the stop procedure done, set on the track. That he feel like he's overheating the right front. That he needs to lift.
Got a loose tire.
Guys, got a tire from somebody got away and went all the way across pit road. Nobody hit it there.
It's coming back.
We talked about mixed bag. The top 6 stayed out. The rest came down pit road. 12 total stayed out. We'll see how this all shakes out when we come back. Stage number 2 coming up from Pocono.
I remember a long time ago, I think it was during green flag conditions too. I couldn't tell you what series it was, but some guy had a tire roll away from him during green flag pit stops. It rolled out like into the grass on like a mile and a half, and dude is just, he's trucking it for that tire to complete that pit stop. Which is just insane, because like, what if a car went sliding through the grass at the same time, like had an incident off turn 4? Just wild. That just kind of reminded me of that. Maybe you have to fill me in on the chat as to what race that was. NASCAR obviously frowns upon that. You're definitely not supposed to do that, and you're supposed to let a NASCAR official go get the tire. In that circumstance, a caution would come out, and he didn't want the caution to come out. He just wanted to go grab the tire while it was still green flag. That man is insane. But that's also the kind of guy you'd probably want on your pit crew at the same time, too. So it's a double-edged sword. Up to 29 likes on the stream. Appreciate that, everybody. Get an early Friday afternoon / Friday evening stream for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Our first of 4 live commentary streams on the weekend. And we'll take another ad break here as you're listening live on KRC. 52 laps to go as we're about to begin Stage 2 at Pocono. Pocono definitely known for some very wild restarts, to say the least. It'll be interesting to see what kind of restarts we maybe have here today. Definitely that initial start was a bit wild. Corey Heim was still able to win the stage even after falling out of the top 5 from starting second, which was inside of row 1. Raja Kruthi started in third inside of row 2. Did not get stage points. I believe he ended up 13th at the end of the first stage. Cycles up to 10th after a couple cars in front of him had pitted. He was one of them that stayed out. Not sure where Bailey Curry was running prior to his green flag pit stop before the end of the stage. He'll be 13th. So everybody from 14th on back just hit pit road during this first caution of the race.
During stops, and we're told that that was the 22 of Mason Maggio. So we found the home for him there. Meanwhile, as we mentioned, the top 6 decided to stay out.
Yeah, and 6 others in addition to that. So 12 trucks have stayed on the racetrack. So that takes another 10 or 12 pages out of the playbook. We still have over 20.
And I think what we said before the race is there's going to be mixed playbooks. It's going to be mixed strategies, and we just saw an example of that there. And I would guess the 11 will run to about lap 28, right?
27, 28. If he can get to pit road, if he's still a leader, can get to pit road before the second place truck would get to the start finish line, then he can make his pit stop then. But there's not going to be a lot of them, I don't think, that will be able to make the stop on lap 28. They would have to do it on lap 27. They're the choosing, obviously, picking their lanes,
And we'll get ready to roll up our sleeves and watch another one of these wild restarts. Here we go.
Let's get some updates from pit road. Josh.
Well, the 91 on Zane Smith was on pit road for a long time, and that's because he came over the radio, reported he had a horrible, uncontrollable bend in the front end of that truck. Well, it turns out he broke the right rear shock, so they were working on that truck. They swapped it out. He's coming back in now to get 4 tires, and they're going to top him off with fuel as well. But a tough start to this race for Zane Smith. Amanda?
Josh Scott Zabadell told me that they're going to go to the end of stage 2 with Corey Heim, but I want to go back to that restart for Corey. Denny Hamlin recently mentioned that while Corey is only 21 years old, he drives like he's 35 years old. How much trust do you have in your driver?
He's 35. That makes me 60. I trust him. You know, he's so good. He gives great feedback. He's so focused. But everybody on this Safe Light Toyota Pro, it's been flawless all year. We've made our share of little mistakes, but hopefully we can capitalize on this truck here. It's got really good speed. Try to win both stages and then finish it off with a win.
Bill headed to the end of the stage. Surprised by that?
No, that's what he told me this morning, that right before the race, that he wanted all the points. Even though he's secure with the 4 wins, knows he's going to make the playoffs, he's still going after the regular season championship. And he's one of those drivers that could potentially have a 60-point day. If he can sweep the stages and win the race, that can be 60 points. And that could go a long way towards closing that gap up on Eckes.
And as fast as he was at the end of that,
It's going to be tough with Eckes finishing second in that last stage. Interesting through the choose rule here that Eckes, who would have been second, chooses outside of row 2. That would have worked off the initial start. We'll see if it works on this first restart of the day. Tyler Ankrum, who was in third at the end of the first stage, will be inside of row 1. Green flag back in the air at Pocono, stage 2 underway, 50 to go in the race. Matt Crafton, one of the first few drivers, trying to pull out of line, making 3 wide moves into turn 1. Somebody from the outside lane pulled to the bottom and back to the top, further outside the top 10. Not sure who that was. But the outside lane does prevail at the front of the field for the top couple spots. Outside of rows 1 and 2 will become the top 2, and actually top 3 as Daniel Dye, who was outside row 3 on the restarts, up to 3rd. And I thought he had a pretty big run on Eckes. Eckes cut the draft off on the middle of that last straightaway, and Dye sits in line behind him. Eckes lost a lot of ground through the tunnel turn to Corey Heim. And we'll see if Daniel Dye can try to pounce for second. Fastest truck on the track through stage 1 was definitely the 11 of Heim. Again, he fell back to about 7th, 8th place on that initial lap of the race. After starting second, still got all the way up through the field and ended up actually taking the lead to win that last stage after just 11 laps. Little tire rub, it looks like on the left rear tire for the 21 truck. See if he makes it all the way back to pit road. Hopefully he does. Ankrum going to lose a spot now to Grant Enfinger. Enfinger moves to P4. Now, this time by, we'll have 8 laps to go in stage 2. And lap 30 will end the second stage, which is only 15 laps. Corey Heim already is just 2 laps after the race start has stretched his lead out to about 9/10 of a second over Eckes. And Eckes has built a little bit of a gap between himself and Dye for the 2nd and 3rd place positions. Spencer Boyd still the only driver off or out of the race today. And I believe Lane Riggs had to spend some extra time on pit road potentially at the end of that last caution. His last pit stop was 86 seconds. He is still on the lead lap, but he was 46 seconds off of the lead when that last lap was scored. And with the race leader Corey Heim running lap times in the 54-second lap barrier right now, that would only put Riggs about 8 seconds or so ahead of the fastest truck on the track. Now, the good news is, again, we only got 7 laps. 1 second lead now for Heim over Eckes. So Corey Heim leads, Christian Eckes second, Daniel Dye third, Grant Enfinger fourth, Tyler Ankrum is fifth off this restart. 6th is Ty Majeski. Make that Taylor Gray now. Gray makes the pass. So Gray is 6th, Majeski is 7th, Stuart Friesen 8th, Tanner Gray 9th, and Matt Mills rounds out the top 10. Ross Chastain up to 11th, Raja Caruth back to 12th, Luke Fenhouse 13th, Chase Purdy 14th, and Ben Rhodes is 15th. Nick Sanchez 16th, 17th is Brett Holmes, Connor Mosack 18th, Jake Garcia 19th, Dean Thompson is 20th. Matt Crafton in 21st, Bailey Curry 22nd, Timmy Hill 23rd, Lawless Allen 24th, and Mason Massey is 25th. Chris Wright 26th, Ty Dillon 27th, Mason Maggio 28th. 29th is Thad Moffitt, Justin Carroll 30th. Lane Riggs, last truck on the lead lap in 31st. Sage Karam a lap down in 32nd. That was the 21 truck, by the way, that had the tire rub, so he did make it to pit road, but he is now lapped down. Zane Smith, who had the lengthy pit stop during the stage break, is a lap down in 33rd. Brian Doze at 34th, Stefan Losley 35th, and Spencer Boyd, again the only truck out of the race, 36th. First 11 laps, led by the pole sitter Christian Eckes. The next 13 and counting have been led by our current race leader, Corey Heim. And the only caution was at lap 15 for the stage 1 end. Next, at least scheduled stage end will be lap 30. And we'll go 40 to the end in the final stage. Side-by-side commercial break as of right now on Fox Sports 1. We'll keep our live commentary coverage rolling. Next Craftsman Truck Series race will be next Friday as well. Later start time, it'll be a Friday night under the lights at the short track at the Indianapolis Raceway Park, Lucas Oil Raceway. I believe is the still the name of the racetrack, the title sponsor they have there in Indy. So a triple header next week with Truck Xfinity and Cup again. Xfinity and Cup Series on the big oval at the Brickyard at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Speedway, Indiana, just outside of downtown Indianapolis. But IRP, Indianapolis Raceway Park, formerly known as, will be the Truck Series date next Friday night. So action-packed weekend on the channel next week. We have an action-packed weekend this week as well. Again, Cup practice and qualifying for us begins tomorrow at noon Eastern. We'll have Xfinity racing at 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow afternoon as well, and a Cup race on Sunday beginning at 2 p.m. Eastern with our pre-race coverage. Don't get why they run caution laps to start the second stage after the first stage. So, yeah, I know. By the time they went green, they only had like 9 laps. I don't know either. I mean, I know why they do it. They do it because they're trying to keep like every race the same with the rules. They shouldn't have the stage cautions to begin with. You know, that's my opinion, but I've also had that opinion since 2017 when the stages were introduced. This is the 7th year that we've had stages now in NASCAR. Hard to believe it's been 7 years already, but I don't think they're going to change it. We're this far in. I would argue it would add much more strategy to the race, and this takes away from it quite a bit, but oh well. What do I know? 3 laps to go, stage 2 for Corey Heim. Stretching the lead out over 2 seconds now on Eckes. Stop.
Sanders, obviously 2 wins already this year. Doesn't matter.
So Nick Sanchez and Taylor Gray pitting before the end of the stage. They still have to stay on the lead lap, though. They're the only 2 drivers to pit before the stage end because we're all ready to 2 to go. Corey Heim crossed the start-finish line. And he's trying to lap Lane Riggs in the 38, who had that long pit stop during the stage break. Got out there a little late. Riggs will go a lap down. Now, the good news is for Riggs, he'll get the free pass if Heim does not catch anybody else, which more than likely won't be the case. I don't think he'll catch Nick Sanchez or Taylor Gray, who have just exited pit road. Those 2 trucks are up to speed now, but again, they were the only 2 to pit. Nobody pitted with 2 to go in the stage. I'm sure Eckes is staying out there because Corey Heim is staying out there, and those 2 are battling for the regular season championship. So though Corey Heim is trying to go for a max points day today, Christian Eckes has finished 2nd in stage 1 and more than likely here stage 2 as he's a few seconds ahead of Daniel Dye in 3rd. So he's really only going to gain 2 of his 40 points that he came into this race on a deficit with in these first 2 stages alone. He's done his job so far. He's just not getting the help. Which again just makes that penalty at the end of the Charlotte race with the 3 loose lug nuts and getting disqualified just so massive for Corey when it comes to trying to get those extra 15 playoff points for winning the regular season championship. He came in minus 40. I mean, that race he got docked over 50 points alone. That's really been the only reason that this isn't a tighter points gap, because although Heim would be ahead of Eckes, it'd be pretty tight coming into this race on that points battle. That race was only a few races ago, too. Hasn't had many races since to try to help overcome that deficit. In fact, the deficit has only gotten a little bit bigger since. I think after that penalty, he was minus 30, and he's lost 10 points to Eckes in the last couple of races. Didn't help that Eckes ended up leading every lap from the pole in Nashville a couple of weeks ago. Corey Heim will win stage 2 here today, just like he won stage 1, so he'll sweep the stages at Pocono on the same fuel cycle. He has yet to make a pit stop, so he'll definitely be pitting during this stage break. More than likely. Although you never know. Maybe they try to make it on one stop. They try to save enough fuel to get to lap 35. They pit. Try to make it the rest of the way. That'd be risky, but you just never know what could happen here. I would imagine somebody's going to try it. Maybe they'll get some cautions to help save gas there. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if anybody tried it. Don't get any cautions, though. It looks foolish because then you're just never going to make it. But the way this race has gone so far, our only cautions have been the 2 stage ends. You just never know. Aggressiveness picks up here. On this next restart, it could add a few extra caution laps. Might be all you need to make this race a one-stop. Quite a few drivers obviously pitted before, during the stage 1 break, and then a couple more that haven't pitted yet at all. Let's see, Luke Fenhouse, Tanner Gray, Stuart Friesen, Ty Majeski, Tyler Ankrum, Grant Enfinger, Daniel Dye, Christian Eckes, Corey Heim. Those are the only trucks that have not pitted yet. It's only 9 trucks in the field. Make that 10. 10 trucks in the field have not pitted at all in this race through the first 2 stages. And most of those drivers getting stage points in stage 2 or in both stages. Raja Karuthu didn't pit during the stage break. Didn't get stage points in either stage, even after starting 3rd, so that's a huge loss for him. As playoff points are still awarded for the top 10 in the driver standings, not just for the regular season championship, just a lot more, obviously, if you win the regular season championship, getting 15 versus further back. So that could hurt him there. He could lose a spot or 2 in points today, depending on how things go, with no stage points compared to those racing around him in the standings that did get a lot of stage points in the race. Enfinger getting top 5 in both stages. Majeski, double-digit stage points. So Corey Heim wins stage 2. Christian Eckes was 2nd. Daniel Dye 3rd. Grant Enfinger 4th. Tyler Ankrum was 5th. Ty Majeski 6th. Ross Chastain was 7th. He has made a pit stop, so he's first of those that did pit once. Stuart Friesen 8th. Tanner Gray 9th. Matt Mills 10th.
In Argentina. On even if you don't watch soccer all the time, Michael, we know who Messi is, and we want to see how they end up.
I get excited about it this time of year, Jamie. There's stage points for today.
So far, so perfect for Corey Heim.
How about 15 stage points for Daniel Dye?
Big night for him. Tyler ain't impressive so far.
All those guys that needed stage points. Most of them got them. Yes.
Reason on that list as well. See on our left side pylon there, when folks last pitted, as you see, majority of our top 10 hasn't pitted yet. So we think all of those trucks will come to pit road for sure. They're going to run out of gas if they don't fairly soon. Then could be a bit of a mixed bag for the other guys that pitted on lap 17, because if they pit here, they get a full tank of gas. That means they can spend less time on pit road next time when they pit, a faster pit stop when it really matters. So we could see some various strategies here, but I think we'll see most everybody pit.
Yeah, I think you see Ross Chastain. You see him. He at the end of the first stage came to pit road. 12 trucks stayed out. Fresh tires. He's able to move up to 7th. It worked for him. He has better track position. I think he comes to pit road just like you say. Everybody that come to pit road now, they have the option of just doing a gas and go. They'll put fresh tires on now and a gas to go later on. They know they can run around 30 laps. So sometimes once they get in their window, they know they can go about 30 laps. So anywhere around lap 40, they will be maybe even earlier than that. They're in their window to get to the end of the race. The thing is, you don't want to be caught on the racetrack when the caution comes out, if the caution comes out, because you will lose all that track position to everybody that came to pit road under green.
Taylor grade this field, depending on how many trucks pit.
Stage 1 and stage 2, 30 laps just like that. But as we've been talking about, 40 laps now, it's going to change things a little bit. They've made it longer than it's ever been here at Pocono, and that's changed a lot of things.
A lot of times, Jamie, when somebody tells you they're going to pit on lap 40, they mean 38. They just don't want you to know that yet. They always fudge that number back, and we could see that today.
They don't like to show all their cards. You saw last week as a pit reporter how mine are. All right, they're coming your way, Josh.
Let's start with the 18 of Tyler Ankrum. A really good points day for him so far, running in the top 5 in both stage 1 and stage 2. His biggest concern saying he is way too loose getting to the throttle and making a track bar and air pressure adjustment to help him to find something to catch the speed of the man.
Townfield circled the point that Daniel Dye has picked up in these stages. You talk about growing confidence. He did tell his team that the truck is too free everywhere, but not awful. And as you go down and look at Christian Eckes, he told his team, I just don't have the security to run with Corey Heim, but I do feel good about my balance at the end. That 11 truck at the bottom of the screen, his team told him, get off that box as hard as you can. That is how important these positions are on pit road. Another tire got away. You see the mixed strategy there. Matt Mills, 2 tires. Couple more did the same thing. That will be a penalty once they know who it belongs to. And each tire does have the team number on there, and that's how they identify who it belongs to.
Came up about the same area of pit road.
Stage 1 and 2 in the book. Stage 3, 40 laps coming up. Who will get the job done?
Couple laps away from halfway in today's CRC Brakleen 175. Couple drivers stayed out of the pits. We saw some 2-tire pit stops there. Fuel only, in fact, on pit road. 4-tire stops for those that didn't pit yet in the race. So alternating strategies here at the end of stage 2. Here's our stage 2 diecast showing today. Now, I've given a 124 scale diecast showing of this same paint scheme, same truck. It's one of the few 164 scale diecasts I have for the truck series. And this is the black number 3. Now, with the 124 scale diecast, that was a J Sauter paint scheme. It had J Sauter just above the window net, just below the roof, on the roof rail, essentially. On the roll cage, this one, I don't know if you can read it or not on the camera, but this is Mike Skinner, former Truck Series champion, multi-time Truck Series champion, in fact. So, he more synonymously ran this black number 3 truck in the early Truck Series days. This is a Mike Skinner diecast, but yeah, the other one I have at the 124 scale, it's a J Sauter. Here's the Mike Skinner one. Identical paint scheme. There's really nothing different with the two. I could probably have them both together, and I wouldn't be able to tell you the difference other than the name on the race truck is really the only thing different with it. But this is our diecast showing today here for the end of stage number 2. So the other thing, obviously, at the end of stage 2, if you are not new here to the channel, we usually do, we will close the poll. Rip my earpiece out of my ear. Putting the diecast down. There we go. All right. Good there. I don't think it messed with the audio at all. But we'll end stage 2's, or end the poll here at the end of stage 2 for who you think will win. Very shocked. 53 votes were casted. And Christian Eckes had the most votes of anybody. Corey Heim looks like the fastest truck in the field. He was my pick to win, but Christian Eckes is your guys' pick to win this race. Running second at the end of stage 1 and stage 2 to that of Corey Heim, who won the first 2 stages and has led the most laps so far. Both of them back in traffic for the first time, though, in this alternating pit strategy sequence we're seeing with this race getting elongated by 10 laps compared to what we usually see here at Pocono. So that's lent its hand into quite a bit of strategy. With that being said, it was pretty straightforward, kind of a one-stop race before, but this adds an extra pit stop, so kind of interesting to see how these teams are approaching when they take their first and second stops. We'll see if anybody tries to stretch the fuel window here in this final stage at all. That could be able, definitely be a interesting development there. So yeah, 35% taking Christian Eckes, 32% taking Corey Heim, 28% taking somebody other than Eckes, Heim, or Caruth, and only 3% with Caruth, who fell out of the top 10 quickly at the beginning of this race. Doesn't look to really have much speed to get back up in contention. You never know.
The intensity ratchets up.
And it feels like it's going to be a pretty thrilling 40 laps or so to the finish.
Well, there was a lot of stress coming in about the weather tonight, what to expect from the weather. Some guys coming out pickle on pit road. Take a look at that as we watch them choose.
Talked to Jared Prince, crew chief, Matt Brakleen. We saw the 88 dip off the pit road. I think his plan, because he knows he has to make something happen, he's going to try to stretch here, just a little bit of a top off there. Going to try to stretch from there. Going to try to save all he can and make it the rest of the way without stopping.
Can you imagine?
I love it. You got to take a chance. They didn't have a truck to be able to get up there and about winning.
Here's a truck that did have a chance to win this race and still does, but man, problems.
Well, looks like there's problem getting the right rear off. He's trying to pull, didn't have a,
maybe one of the nuts off.
That wasn't the tire.
21-second pit stop. A
Ooh.
pit stop for these trucks is somewhere in the 15s. Those 6 seconds equate to him coming out. They're going to restart. He was lined up 16th before the juice.
Let's listen to his radio after that.
No, not good. You might want to go plan B here. You're ready to like that.
make a plan.
Yeah.
We know we need a new plan. We look at that book. They're our pages of our playbook, and we talked about hitting at lap 40 with 30 to go. Now they back that up to 38 for this 19 truck. Maybe a quick caution gets them where they want to be.
Well, we know how good that night.
And it's color coded too.
And look, he's going to rip a couple pages out. That was not any good anymore.
Those graphs. I like to see that because on the cup side, you don't see it.
He's showing us his playbook.
Well done. Way to play him on.
John did done the pit road. I was so thankful for the opportunity to do that in Nashville. Interact with the crews, the crew chiefs. You know, they love what they get to do, and they like sharing some of their, a little bit of their inside story, not all of it.
Modified. So different strategies up front. Jake Garcia.
Yeah, so with Jake Garcia going to be the leader on the restart here. Again, we saw some fuel only. We saw some 2-tire stops, 4-tire stops. Heim is the first off pit road in the 4-tire stops. He's outside of row 3. Green flag back in the air. Daniel Dye 3, now 4 wide down to the bottom of the racetrack under Dean Thompson. Couple trucks to his outside. Another pull out of line here for the race lead into turn 1. Matt Mills diving underneath Jake Garcia. It's going to leave the top open for Corey Heim to get by Mills now on the next straightaway off the exit of the first turn. Nick Sanchez from the inside of row 1 gets the spot back on Mills, who maybe pulled out of line a little early. Should have settled in second. Instead, he's fallen out of the top 5 quickly. Garcia holds on through turn 2 for the lead. Corey Heim all over his back bumper. And Sanchez in third, trying to keep a close proximity to that of the leaders. Restarted this thing with 34 laps to go unofficially. Corey Heim around the outside through turn 3. Blows past Garcia, clears him off the exit of the corner. Heim back out in front here at Pocono. So he'll lead the first green flag lap of stage 3. Garcia trying to block for second. Gets a big run, actually, and dives down to the bottom of the racetrack into turn 1. Can't get alongside Heim once again. Slips coming off of the exit of the corner, and here comes Sanchez for second. Sanchez now looks to make a dive on the next straightaway between turns 1 and 2, and a block made by Garcia to hold the position. Enfinger in fourth, vastly approaching both those 2 trucks in front of him. Christian Eckes on his way back through the field after a slow pit stop. Picker again having troubles trying to get the right rear tire off and get the new tire on. Equated to a just over 21-second pit stop for Eckes, but he's already back up in the top 10 now to 9th. Make that 6th, actually, for Eckes. Quick rebound. Chastain up in the top 5 for the first time as well in 5th, lap 39. Go!
Here comes Eckes 4.
Chastain up to 4th. The only former Pocono race winner in the truck series in the field.
Watch it too. He washes out, coming up off the corner. Probably the back end scoots out a little bit with it. It bounces off. Oh, look at that tire smoke.
Needed all that room.
Here comes Corey Heim. Look at that. Great camera shot, guys.
What a save by Nick Sanchez.
Jake Garcia came to pit road.
Stuart Friese taking a look, makes it 4 wide behind him. Amanda. As Jake Garcia makes his way on the pit road, he told his team that he's really tight on exit in all 3 corners. I was talking to Rich Luchas earlier today, and he said they were going to be a little more risky with Jake today. Felt comfortable about his performance here last season and said that he's ready for it, guys.
Well, I talked to Rich as well, and he said, this is what I'm going to do, Mike, but don't you tell anybody. So
Can we tell now?
Yes, we can tell now. This was exactly his plan. He said, we're going to stay out at the end of stage 2 and leapfrog everybody, grab track position, and then pit as quick as we can. But this is going horribly wrong. They're having problems with that left rear, a bad pit stop.
Have problems with the right front. Now the left rear, he may find himself a lap down.
Yeah.
He'll be able to change 4 tires.
Here comes the leaders. Jake Garcia just exits pit road. Is it going to be enough?
No, it's not. But the thing about that, Phil, is all that strategy, all that thinking. and putting himself in a position to get that great finish because of the strategy. It just went out the window with that long pit stop. He gave up all those spots he gained by leapfrogging the field right there on pit road.
Christian Eckes up to fourth.
You don't think he's driving a little bit angry, do you? Way he's got his way through this field after that bad pit stop.
He sounded pretty calm on the radio, but he's done a nice job here. Getting all the way back up to the fourth spot already.
By the way, Ross Chastain into second. Corey Heim continues to lead almost by 2 seconds.
And we know now that everybody theoretically should be able to make the end of the race from here. So that surprised me to see more people head to pit road anytime we come by the entrance to pit road.
What you're doing now by staying out, you're taking a bit of a risk that maybe the caution comes out and other people have hit, but you're also making your last pit stop quicker because you don't need as much fuel.
Let's get an update on Ross Chastain. Josh.
Well, Jamie, as we keep an eye on when these falls, is that be mindful of that, but don't give up too much position. So a strategy here for them to keep up with that fuel and be smart about how they handle the rest of this race.
Good insight on the 45. You see Phil Gould, his crew chief, looking on.
And we talk about Mac Braft and them topping off. Jerry Prince tells me that they were going to try to make it all the way this morning. Well, he's only 2 laps more fuel than everybody else, so there could be an opportunity possibly for some other of these teams. Now, I don't think Corey Heim could do it because he's leading, but maybe some of those trucks, there's Nick Sanchez coming to pit road, Amanda.
They're really going to make this a good stop. You'll go back to stage 1. They had that issue with the right rear for this time and this stop. Nick is telling his team that the truck is free firing off, but I think it will come to me in this run.
Well, he also had that bit of damage, so it's nice to get to pit road and take care of any possible issues here, and he's on his way.
Nick Sanchez gets some fuel right side tires. Corey Heim continues to lead here in Pocono. 28 laps to go.
Circuiting down to 27 to go this time by. Ross Chastain has actually been quicker on the racetrack than Corey Heim, the race leader. Chastain in second. He was 0.2 quicker than Heim 2 laps ago. The lap before that, he was about a 10th or 2 quicker. Seems to be getting through turn 1, I've noticed, on the interval side of things per lap. Just watching on, the same TV screens you guys would be watching, it seems like he gains the most time interval-wise on Heim through turn 1. However he's doing that, it's working out for him. Although I believe Chastain just pitted that last lap from second. Either that or he had a big mistake and he lost a ton of ground, because now Grant Enfinger is all over his back bumper. No, he is in second. So on the TV screen, it shows Connor Mosack in second for some reason. It's not Mosack, it is Chastain. I'm not sure why that's the case. And Ross was quicker than Heim for about 2 or 3 laps in a row, but that last lap, Corey Heim, quicker than Chastain again. Connor Mosack in second, but it is Corey Heim. Trying to figure out where Mosack's even running right now. Mosack in 9th. Oh, trouble! Raja Krutz around, cautions out with 26 to go. It's going to be big for those trucks that pitted. Like Nick Sanchez, Brett Holmes. They'll be able to cycle to the front here because everybody else, I'd imagine, will be coming to pit road. Unless we see some stay out. Which again is going to lead into the craziness of the pit strategy that we have seen so far today. But Raja Krutz spins in turn 2. Bringing out our first incidental caution of the race, our 3rd caution total.
See. Damage if any.
All this traffic, pit road is leading the way. I think Roger's going to try to use that trap to drive the inside of Novak and
Turned himself in. I think he had contact with the 17. Oh, maybe not. Nope. Maybe not.
Very well. Let's take from the 15 to 10%. As he get down in the corner, look like the 71 of Raja wiggle a little bit. Tanner doing a nice job avoiding that. But this opens up the possibilities here. We know everybody can make it here if they stop, from here if they stop. But with these caution laps, everyone's saving fuel. If the drivers don't come to pit road now, that means they're going to try to go the rest of the way because it would not do them any good to stay on the racetrack and pit late.
I want to wish a happy birthday to Mr. Hendrick. 75th birthday today. HendrickCars.com on the side of that truck. Appreciate all he's done for this sport. Happy birthday, bud.
Let's listen in on Grant M. Figures right here.
But they're talking pretty good on fuel and keep everything, and they're raining about 15, 20 minutes out. I feel like we're just going to take the risk, stay out, and hopefully the rain can come. We're able to make it here, but there's a little bit of and we're going to come in and pit.
I like it. He said risk. Like the call?
I do like the call, especially because Grant's a veteran. He can save fuel. He knows how to save fuel, and he wasn't leading that pack. Corey Heim leading that pack. I mean, it's going to be a little harder to save fuel. But again, if these drivers don't come to pit road when it's open now, that means they're going to try to go the rest of the way. I think.
25 laps to go under caution for the first time for an incident. We'll drop the green flag and have.
All right, so Corey Heim leads the way. 25 laps to go under caution. As of right now, Ross Chastain is second, Grant Enfinger third, Christian Eck is fourth for the restart, Chase Purdy fifth, Daniel Dye sixth, Matt Mills 17th, Thompson 8th, Taylor Gray 9th, and Ty Majeski is in 10th. Connor Mosack 11th, Tanner Gray 12th, Bailey Curry 13th, Stuart Friesen 14th, Timmy Hill 15th, Matt Crafton 16th, Ty Dillon 17th, Chris Wright 18th, Luke Fenhouse 19th, Nick Sanchez 20th. Brett Holmes 21st, Mason Maggio 22nd, 23rd is Mason Massey. Justin Carroll 24th, Thad Moffitt 25th, Raja Karuth after a spin falls to 26th. Jake Garcia 27th, Ben Rhodes 28th. Tyler Ankrum 29th is the last truck on the lead lap. Zane Smith 30th, Lane Riggs 31st, Brian Dozit 32nd, 33rd for Lawless Allen, Sage Karam 34th, Stefan Malozzi out of the race 35th, and Spencer Boyd also out of the race 36th. As during green flag conditions, they both dropped out of the race. Boyd in stage 1, Malozzi in stage 2 due to mechanical failures. Jake Garcia will get the free pass after falling a lap down with his green flag stop at the beginning of stage 3. That means Zane Smith is still a lap down again in 30th. And has been a lap down really ever since that long pit stop back at stage 1. Because Lane Riggs got the free pass during the stage 2 break. We'll take an ad break here before we get back to racing in the final stage. 24 laps to go. You're listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Pocono. Lee, thanks for tuning in. We're up to 43 likes on the stream right now. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We have live commentary every NASCAR race weekend for NASCAR Truck Xfinity Cup races, as well as Cup practice and qualifying streams. So a busy weekend with a triple header, Truck Xfinity and Cup all at the track at Pocono this weekend. I'll have another triple header next week at Indy. IRP and the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway set on tap for Truck and Xfinity action, as well as, of course, the Cup Series race. And then after that, we got a 2-week break for the Olympics as well.
With you, down seniors were under caution for the see first 4 incident. Let's hear from a couple of our crew chiefs, been talking about the work they've had cut out for them tonight. Josh?
Yeah, the crew chiefs are certainly busy as we look at the fuel scenario for the rest of the race. Here with Phil Gould, the crew chief on the 45 for Ross Chastain. Phil, what are you guys looking at in terms of being able to make it to the end on fuel?
I think this caution will put us right there at it. Another one would hurt my feelings just in case we get a green white checker, but Mardell Watermelon Association Chevy's been really fast all day. We had to do it the hard way, starting in the rear, and we'll just have to see how it plays out. I'll start saying up to second right now. Course, probably to battle with the 11 at the moment, but we'll see. We'll get a good shuffle in this restart here. We'll stretch the field to the end. That's our option to run right now. So I think that's what everybody else is doing as well.
Laps under caution would make you feel safe.
As safe as any of the other guys are right now up front.
His poker face is on 100%.
You know, and you love that. He said he went from A to B back to A. That's because of how fast Christian Eckes was able to race through the field. He passed 10 trucks in 2 laps. That put him right back on page A, if you will. That's right.
See the choose here. Remember, the top 14 trucks coming to the choose stayed out. All of them will have to run at least 37 laps. Matt Crafton, Chris Wright. It's about a couple laps after that, so a couple laps less for them.
Let's listen to Ross Chastain's radio. I like it.
That's what he wants to hear.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to hear.
He's here for the wins. That's all Ross Chastain's looking for. He wants to smash a watermelon on the racetrack like he did at Darlington. So Corey Heim has been the dominant force tonight. He's led 32 laps, one stage 1, one stage 2. Christian Eckes had that bad pit stop, got him shuffled back in the mix, fought his way back up to core. 23 laps to go. Grant Enfinger on the inside, Corey Heim on the outside. Big push by Ross Chastain on the outside for Corey Heim. They start to fan out 4 wide as they head into turn 1.
See, Dean Thompson was the first truck to pull out, but there was such good pushes from the second row that he wasn't able to do anything.
Just remember, laps are winding down. Weather's in the area. These guys are going to push harder and harder. And we already saw examples of how easy it is to get out of shape if you're down on the bottom. So watch for more action as we go toward the checker.
And watch that 19 truck, 14th in line. Michael, you talked about how fast he drove up there through the pack. Let's see what he's got now that he's gotten himself just a few behind the dominant truck tonight.
Battle among teammates, Taylor Gray in the 17, Dean Thompson in the 5. Remember Taylor above the tip line coming in here.
Wow, that was a nice dive into turn 3. Wouldn't it? Took care of Dean in a hurry. Another spot behind his brother.
There's a snake. Found the front straightaway.
There's your playoff bubble. You see right there the action we have going on and how tight it is among those.
Side of 25 of Ty Dillon. Got Rajah right in front of him. Chris Wright, that's the one truck who is outside as well. Daniel Snake making moves back towards the front. Every position is a point. Don't forget that.
Daniel Dye running top 5 most of this race. Back in 22nd now. We've seen slow pit stops. Hit a bunch of guys, a bunch of drivers tonight. Is across the start finish line. 20 laps to go. Sponsored by Craftsman.
And Trent Edfinger was able to stay right with Corey Heim, guys. Up part of the race and the energy he had.
No, he had something that he knew could win this race underneath of him. And that's the first person we've seen make ground on Corey Heim all day long.
Like what I'm seeing out of Grant Enfinger running second. Just 0.3 of a second behind our leader.
Ross Chastain from the 27th starting position. This racetrack is so fun to watch because of all the grooves and all the moves they have the ability to make. Christian Eckes, a bad pit stop, and he's right up inside that top 5. Matt Mills, another great run for the 42 truck.
You're holding off Tom Majeski, Taylor Gray.
Bailey Curry racing there, and there you see Daniel Dye outside the top 20. Now he's up battling for a spot in 17.
Let's get an update, Amanda. Just on, Daniel Dye had stopped when he came into the pit box, put the truck in neutral, and it got off, had a hard time getting it refire to get back on track to rectify the situation. His crew chief Blake Breaker just said, "Go faster, bud." Well, he's certainly been on the gas. Now he's just trying to make up some time. 71 of Raja Cruz saw that incident with Connor Mozak, his teammate.
Bailey Curry just ahead there. Now you see Daniel Dye. He's in 20th now, so needs to make up some ground.
Restart. Got a truck, I think, there's no doubt that he can gain some more spot before the end of this.
Majeski's going to grab that 5th spot from Matt Mills.
I talked a lot about Ty Majeski. He's been in there in the mix, top 10 all race long. I know this young man's looking forward to the next 2 races that we have on the Lucas Oil Raceway Park for our next race next weekend. And the race after that is Richmond. 2 short tracks for him.
And an update on the 42 of Matt Mills, and you guys were talking about the great run he's having today. Got himself inside the top 6 right now. He's coming off that great finish at Nashville where he finished in that top 10. He called that a big booster in terms of his confidence. Now, this is a guy that raced with KBM last year, and he produced his success at Pocono to the notebook he was able to build from talking with Kyle. The big boost for him. He has a strong run going on.
Ty Majeski in as well, making a pit stop here as they work on the left side. Just talking about him running in the top 10.
I think this is a voltage issue, Phil. There, yeah. Sometimes where they go to work on the battery right there, and that's what that has every sign of being. And we're getting a report that he had no power on the dash, Josh. Looks like they're going to take that left rear tire off to get to the battery.
Yep, and that's exactly what it is. They're going to have to change the battery for the 98.
Front line. This is obviously going to hurt somebody. He's still going to easily make the playoffs. I was thinking we were going to easily knock him in today, but we were saying, and not so fast. Just quickly, everything changes.
Taylor Gray and Matt Mills for 5th right here. Matt Mills has been so impressive today. For Corey Heim trying to get it done for the 5th time this season. 16 laps to go.
Armor fuel mileage could still be an issue, potentially. It sounds like that there is some rain potentially on the way as well. We may get the race over with before that happens. We'll have to wait and see. We're down to lead for Corey Heim over Grant Enfinger. 3rd place, Christian Eckes is 2.7 seconds off the race lead. 3.6 seconds back is Ross Chastain in 4th. And Taylor Gray rounds out the top 5 at 7.9 seconds back of the race leader. 8.5 seconds back is Matt Mills in 6th. Chase Purdy in 7th with a great run. Is 9.6 seconds off the lead. Purdy started pretty deep in the field today, too. Dean Thompson, 8th place. He's 9.7 seconds back of the race leader. 10.2 seconds back is Nick Sanchez in 9th. Stuart Friesen rounds out the top 10. Friesen's 10.6 seconds off of Heim, the leader. 14 laps to go now during this commercial break. Full screen on Fox Sports 1. We'll take our last ad break of the stream as well. You're listening live on KRC to the CRC Brakleen 175. Again, a quick reminder to those of you watching, we will have a NASCAR 07 stream later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Be running at New Hampshire for the next Busch Series race on the custom schedule season there. And also a reminder to tune in tomorrow. We have live commentary of the NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying session, which will take place at Pocono as well. Our NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage will begin at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And we will close things out, of course, with the NASCAR Cup Series race on Sunday. That will begin at 2 p.m. Eastern. So that is the live commentary schedule slate for the rest of the weekend. Again, all races at Pocono this weekend for the Truck Xfinity and Cup Series.
Chastain.
Listen in on his radio.
I think that's overjoyed. And we need him.
So how do you do that?
He's pulling the 45 along, so it's an advantage to Ron Chastain to be right there behind, and that's the difficult thing for Christian Eckes. Where do I run to stay ahead of the 45, and do I let off the gas and the 45 passes me, or does he need me to pull him along to get the fuel mileage to get to the checker? Be a lot of trucks. I mean, I think there's gonna be some trucks that don't make it. I mean, it's just that close.
We've never seen trucks go this far. They're trying to, most of what's people are trying to go 37 laps. Well, 35.
Based on the reports, you'd think the weather is about 12 to 15 minutes out.
Some say even less than that. So
Those are the Pocono Mountains, Jamie. You never know when that stuff's going to sweep in.
But it's raining in turn 2, and you're just fine and sunny on the other end. This is the mid of the night right here.
And do you feel like you saved a lot of that caution?
Keep it there. What are you thinking as a driver when you get that news?
Well, you do all you can do. All you know, you're shouting, and you can see maybe maybe Grant's decided I'm going to back it down a little bit more to make sure I do make it. There goes Ross around Eckes.
So now Eckes does the same thing that Ross was doing.
see the
Take
laps.
strap.
Yeah, lap 6 pit. Look at Sanchez back there. Remember, he came in on that last caution, as did Brett Holmes running 9th and 11th. We know they're okay, but we're not sure about anybody else in the field. At least the trucks that are running up in the top 13.
And the big question is Corey Hyman. You guys mentioned it. When you're the one leading, you don't have that draft to run in and try to save, try to lift a little bit.
And he's been running the fastest laps, lap after lap. Either he or Grant Enfinger have been the fastest trucks on the racetrack. So you have to
By a couple seconds.
able to save
2 seconds quicker than Chastain and Eckes.
Feel concerned about trying to get to the checker. Like you said, Phil, over 2 seconds for some of those trucks. That's crazy. That's how you save gas, though. Looks like Eckes and Ross Chastain are taking turns leading that Giro to try to save fuel. You work with me, I'll work with you. I heard you tell me one day, slow her down, slow her down. I said, I'm your man for that job. I got that covered. Amanda, what's happening down there?
Yeah, let's take a look at Nick Sanchez in the 2. He's a truck that might actually get to start pushing. He's one of the ones that made one of the last stops on track at lap 42. And then they were on lap 33, so they teams are saving doing that. The team's pretty excited about what's ahead, Josh.
And in the 18, they'll be able to toss it out on the track for our own weather.
We're just talking about it. It could be raining at one end of the racetrack and the other end, not a drop. So caution comes out for the 4th time here, showing 9 laps to go.
There's about 20 crew chiefs right now breathing a sigh of relief.
Let's get
Your hand's naturally going to say it's raining hard.
I did see a little laugh out of Scott Zipadelli when he heard his driver.
So monsoon out there as far as Corey Hyman is concerned.
Now we're getting some good gas mileage. Feeling pretty good about things right now, especially with that rain falling. It's been a challenge all day long. We knew that it's a possibility that this race could be short.
3.
Turn 3. This one.
I was gonna say it's turn 3.
So 2 out of turns are raining.
Great calls.
Jamie.
James, everybody that pitted on lap 33,
Oh.
stretching your hope trying to get to the end, but they all knew that their drivers could save some fuel. And weather could potentially be a problem, and they did it. It's amazing. There's so many of these teams that pitted on lap 33, and it's going to work out.
They just took a chance. And in NASCAR, if you're going to win at this competitive style of motorsports, you're going to have to take chances, and it's going to work out. It appears.
And you heard the radio on the 9. Jeff Stankwitz just showed him the crew chief for Grant. They said, we got to take a risk here. See what we can do. Follow the pace truck here and see what the weather decides to do. Oh, so close to the finish.
We would have been finished any other year here.
Yeah.
Number 60 laps, but it's been in the past 50 originally. That's 60 laps. We've completed 62.
Corey Heim, Grant Enfinger, Christian Eckes, Ross Chastain, Taylor Gray. They're going to bring him down pit road this time by such a giant racetrack. It takes a while to dry it too. Once that rain falls, as hard as it looked like it was coming down in 2 and 3.
Yeah, so much asphalt to get dry. 2.5 miles.
See, the red flag has been displayed as they make their way down pit road. Come down to their pit stalls.
An entertaining event, though, with all the
Wish we could have saw how the fuel mileage played out to the end.
we got up to this event would be. See, before we get to their each individual pit, this is something new NASCAR is doing. Usually we all line up in order, just walk to our pit, but it makes a lot of sense.
And the crews would have to run all the length of pit road potentially with the covers if it's raining hard enough. Now they're right there at their pit stalls. I think it's a great thing.
Great day for Grant Enfinger, that 9 truck. Had a lot of confidence when they started the engine, and he was right there knocking on the door when the red flag came out.
We have 13 stage points in addition right now running in the 2nd spot. Great day.
So if you look over on the left side of your screen, the pylon, it just switched over from 8 laps to a timed race at 1 hour, 8 minutes, 33 seconds to go. What are we looking at? What does this mean?
Well, NASCAR told these teams earlier in the day that they're going to go till 8:20, which is something new. Obviously, we saw that during the street race in Chicago last week. They will not run this race past 8:20. When the clock turns 8:20, say we have a long delay, we get back on the racetrack, we're not quite to the advertised distance of laps. Then once the clock would end at 8:20, then the dry leader would go around one more time, and then he would get the white flag and then the checkered flag. No overtimes, nothing like that. So it's a nice move, I think, NASCAR, and it's clear for the crew chiefs, I think.
And it only applies, I mean, if it keeps raining and we lose the track, NASCAR can make the call when they see they can't get the race restarted by 8:20. So that's how long we're going to run too. That doesn't mean we won't have to call it earlier because of the track being wet, not being able to get back in time. So the teams applaud this because they can plan around it. They know that it's coming at some point, and that's what was implemented here.
Yeah, if it rains hard and we lose the racetrack, we know we cannot drive this 2.5 mile facility in an hour. So NASCAR will have no choice but to go ahead and call this race.
Let's hear from the crew chief of the 9, Jeff Stankwitz. Josh.
Well, yeah, and for this 9 team, they were really stretching it on fuel. So with this break right now due to weather, what is the mindset of the team now?
Yeah, well, we hope it goes back green. We don't want to finish second, right? But with this caution, we feel comfortable we can make it to the end here. If we don't pit, if it goes back green, you're going to have some guys that are in the back are probably going to come put tires on. Probably have some guys to stay out. I think we're probably going to look at staying out, clean air. It's just so hard to pass. And you look at guys that are, 7 or 8 positions behind you, run a second slower just about this place. So I feel like we're going to gamble it, just stay out if it goes green, and I feel like the cleaner's going to play out. But our truck gets better on older tires, so we feel pretty good. He's a little better than us in the tunnel turn, and we're better than him in turn 1, I feel like. But Grant's confident. He thinks he can race pretty hard if we go back.
And when you talk about that confidence, we're seeing that confidence out there on the track. Feels like it's bleeding over throughout the entire team at this point.
Yeah, everybody's been working hard. We've been just slowly making our trucks better. You know, we started off with a mix of different trucks in the shop, and we're starting to get everything honed in to having the same stuff and bringing the same trucks. And everybody's doing good at the shop. I want to thank, Jerry Painter and all his guys does a great job for us on the bodies. McAnally helps us a lot. G-Man, everybody's been helping and supporting us. And yeah, we're getting better every week, and I feel like we're really close to winning a race. If everything can just go our way and we can execute weekend right.
Good luck the rest of the way. This 9 team wants to go back racing, Jamie.
Well, I don't blame them. They had a good piece. Grant talked about it earlier today in practice, that it's the best truck he's had at Pocono, had a big smile on his face, really happy with the direction they're going.
Yeah, we saw him stay right with Corey Happ. If he lost any ground, he's certainly in a fuel conservation mode as well, even though running consistently fast laps. So I would love to see this race go back green and see and it's going to be a mixed bag. As Jeff said, there's going to be some people that come and get 4 tires. Maybe those guys outside the top 10 try to make something happen there. We still have 28 trucks on the lead lap, so you'll give up a lot of track position unless you bring a lot of your friends with you down pit road. You don't have any friends out there. Not even your teammates are your friends.
Let's hear from the leaders, crew chief Amanda. Well, Scott, we heard your driver say it's raining really hard in turn 2. You'll have to tell us how exaggerated that was. But as we switch we have the time on the scoreboard now as well as laps to go. How does your strategy adjust at this point?
We're going for the win. We're not coming back. So whatever happens. If they call it, we'll be good with that. If we go back racing, we'll rack it back up, see if we can win it straight up. The truck's been really good today. Corey's done a great job. Everybody at Tricon Garage is really, really hard on this truck to prepare for this race. It was on our one we had circled, and we feel like we gave up last year. So everything right now is good.
Will this caution help you guys get to the end?
Yeah, we're on it. We're close. As long as we don't have any green-white checkers, I think we'll be in good shape. And we've been saving the whole run, so by our calculations, we're okay to go to the end.
Well, Jamie, in Nashville, Corey Heim told me that he is the man to beat this season, and he has the team to do it. Yeah, he does have that swagger and that confidence. And just take a look at what the season's been like for Corey Heim and this 11 team. 4-time winner.
All right. 4 different types of race right there. It's winner in Coda earlier in the year. This he's just so much faster than the rest of the field. That's why he keeps pointing at his watch, because his times are better than everyone else. That was the 1.5 miles at Kansas. This is the 5/8 mile in North Wilkesboro and Warner and Gateway. That was a really special win for Kansas.
Paid off 50 grand there.
Trying to get it done here tonight. Came so close last year. Of all people, it was Kyle Busch, who he drove for in the past and spent time with. And Kyle has been really good to Corey Heim. Corey almost had him until a half a lap to go.
Yeah, and I talked to Scott earlier today, and he said that he was going to do exactly what he did. He wanted to win. He said, I want to be greedy. I want to win all the points, get all the points. And if he can hold on for the win, whether it rains it out or whether we get that point, he wins. It's a 60-point day for Corey Heim and Scott Zipadelli. And that's going to make up some ground. Christian Eckes has been so good, but that is going to make up some ground. They want to win that regular season point championship. Look at the progress here. I don't think we're out of the realm of possibilities. I think we could go back racing quickly.
Will stay strapped in their trucks. Don't go away. Got to stay here. Finish.
All right, under a red flag here at the Pocono Raceway. This is for rain. Little bit to try to get this race in. And again, only 8 laps to go. So there is that. Not a heavy downpour, enough to bring the trucks onto pit road in a stopped fashion for this red flag. And this due to not wanting the race to dwindle down to 2 laps to go, get the track dry. At least we can get a couple more green flag laps in than that if we do go back to racing. So we did not lose the racetrack completely. Obviously, if we did, it would take well over an hour to dry this 2.5 mile triangle. So with that being the case, we can still get this race in today. And if we can't get our New Hampshire NASCAR race started by 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight, then I think I'm going to end up having to move that to later in the weekend, whether that would be tomorrow or Sunday night after the Cup race. It'd probably end up being tomorrow after the Xfinity race. So if this stream does go past 8 o'clock, then we'll have to move that back. Waiting an hour for 5 minutes of the race if they go back. Yeah, essentially. That's what we're looking at. Hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We're at 49. And 49 likes currently. Free pass with this caution coming out for the rain will go to Zane Smith. So he'll be back on the lead lap if we do get back to racing. So we put 29 trucks on the lead lap officially. And that is if we do get back to racing here.
Back on the racetrack. Jeff Stankiewicz is going to get his wish. Going to that win. Tell you what, though. No, that if big restarts, they're not going to make it to the finish. You know, they're going to have to either come to pit road or they're going to run out of gas because they haven't calculated that closely. These crucial laps are going to make a tremendous difference, but still.
I wish we didn't see a caution there. I would have liked to have seen if Heim was going to make it.
No, these question laps desperately need for these trucks, I think, to get to the end. Saw the 91 of Zane Smith go around our leader. He did get the free pass in the lap down most of this race. Now back on the lead, had some trouble earlier.
It is tough to see him final lap, but I see him have an equal shot at it to the finish. I know that's part of racing, but you hate it for them, for the team. So hopefully everybody is in a good situation now with another lap or two of caution here, maybe even 3 or 4 laps at this point.
Yeah,
they need to drive.
They don't want to come back and see one to go yet. Just let me have another lap or two for some insurance.
Yeah, it could be exciting.
There also could be overtimes. You know, this restart's going to be wild. We talk about how aggressive these drivers are on restarts. I don't know how wide they can go into turn 1, maybe 5. I don't know. But we get another caution, we get some overtimes. That's going to really put a strain on these teams that are trying to stretch the fuel.
Might be Nashville all over again.
Uh-oh.
Still sprinkling out there.
Cops keep falling on my.
Well, as long as we're under caution, we're counting the laps.
That's right.
Like to see these finish to completion. Don't want to see it end under caution.
Check out this. This is how you save fuel. You turn your engine off, get a little bit of momentum, lug it along. Then when you get a chance, set your motor down and pace.
I highly recommend not doing that while traveling.
Well, we're told they are going to bring them back to pit road as the raindrops are getting a little bit here.
So much for that. I was wondering why they were creeping around there so slow.
So
there's rain everywhere, so it's normally of us going breaking.
I got ready to attention to the crank those thing.
exciting weekend of racing. Long Pond, Pennsylvania, always fun to go there. Beautiful.
And back to red. We got one more lap in.
Hiking up there. Race fans.
We got one more lap.
Series race coming up tomorrow. Series on Sunday.
Infield in Michigan, Michigan's holiday.
There's a home to camp out there for several days of the week to be a part of this weekend in the mountains.
See following the pace truck. As they'll bring them back down. So frustrating. Thought they were get to finish these last 8 laps of the race. Red flag is out, so they stop counting those laps. Does not look good going into turn 1.
So got to pit road, it displayed red flag again.
See the top 10 there, Matt Mills. Great day for him. Great effort. Chase Purdy found himself up there in the top 10. Dean Thompson.
Yeah, good run for Dean. He's had a couple bumps in the road lately. Where you see him covering up to 11 of 4 behind.
Yeah, that's 2 top 10s in a row here for Dean Thompson. He finished 8th there last year as well.
Matt Mills about his good run. Top 5 at Charlotte. Top 10 last time out in Nashville. Top 10 again. That's when you get out of that truck with a smile on your face, because you know the mellow man's out there. He's your teammate. You want to make sure you keep pace with him, even though he's one of the best drivers in all of NASCAR. You still have an ego if you're a racer. You want to show people that you can do whatever anyone else could do in that equipment.
Brett Holmes just outside the top 10 with an 11th place run here. Good run for Brett.
See Krishnackis' truck started on pole tonight because of the metric. Hindering us throughout, but the good thing is we got most of the race in before the rain came. And drivers have been told that they can exit their trucks.
That's when our 8:20 race in start to become more and more of a fact, because you can't get the race started, but just immediately if they didn't lose the track the first time it showered.
No rain, no rain.
Let the drivers out as heavy as you saw.
More like, yeah, more rain, more pain.
See,
They did such a good job of making the racetrack raceable. But sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it. It just gets too wet. Late start this race. It's great racing.
we did that.
Over 60 laps of it.
Showed the onboard with Daniel Dye back in 18th. Tough break for him.
That's when those stage points become oh so important and critical, Jamie. We're able to say, well, at least we walked out of there with points, even though we stumbled at the end. The engine died on Daniel when he was on pit road, and that caused them to have a 20-some second pit stop, and that put them in the back. There goes Daniel.
Yeah, for sure top 10. Jamie, as you mentioned, ran in the top 5 all day, so for sure top 10 could potentially go away if we don't get that going.
But the aggressive moves, the way he was driving, the way he's racing, it's a different guy from a year ago. A lot to carry his head high about, I think, what they're doing.
It's just so much confidence and deserve it as well.
Let's hear from Grant Enfinger, who's in second right now, Josh.
Oh, that's right. And we just heard from Jeff Stankiewicz, his crew chief, a few minutes ago. He wanted to go back racing. I know you want to go back racing because, like you told me, this truck is really good.
Yeah, hopefully we can get back out there. It's not looking real promising right now, but I mean, our team as a whole has been really clicking since North Wilkesboro. I feel like we unloaded really good again today with our champion power equipment Chevy. This is the best truck I've had at Pocono. I feel like we're a little bit better than Corey there on a long run. I feel like he's getting through the tunnel better than I am. I feel like I'm getting through turn 1 better than he is, and turn 3 is kind of a wash. So obviously track position is really big here, but you know, we're going to be close on fuel. I know Corey was too. It's kind of hoping to run it towards the end, because I feel like from a handling standpoint, we were getting a little bit better. He was falling off just a little bit quicker than us, but and overall just happy with our performance and happy with our trending up right now. So like I said, a really fast champion power equipment Chevrolet, and hopefully we get back out there today. If not, really looking forward to the next week at RP as well.
Thanks, Grant.
Grant Enfinger mentioned North Wilkesboro is really when they turned the page and started clicking, and they finished second there. That was their first top 5 of the season. Could be another second place finish tonight, or if not, maybe one spot better if we get back to racing and finish this thing up.
A lot of smiles down there in that pit, though. They know they're heading in a great direction as we head toward the playoffs. I like what he said too about Indianapolis Raceway Park. So many people just love that little short track in Indiana. It's such a fun place to race. Got to race there back in the day, and I understand the energy when it comes to saying we're going to Indy to race. It's not the big track, but to me, it's just as fun.
You won there, didn't you?
I did a long time ago.
Look at the smile on High Time's face. That's got to be tough to wait it out.
Not when you're leading.
Are we not? Good, we're not.
Not when you're leading. You're like, I don't care. Let it rain. I mean,
It's a lot better to be waiting it out than you have the lead.
Corey ran the Cup race last week for 2311 in Chicago.
strong too. Got that thing up towards the top 10.
He also ran at Caraway Speedway about a week and a half ago.
That one didn't turn out.
That didn't go well.
Not the same. But if we're not racing a truck, he's racing something somewhere. Runs in the Xfinity Series quite a bit for Sam Hunt Racing. Well, I just mentioned Caraway Speedway. This is what happened over a week ago.
Yeah, the we're week race. Got together with Jacob Hefner in the 95 car. There's Jacob right there.
Jacob backed out from underneath of him and he rolled one over.
Awfully glad. I was actually watching this race when it happened. I was awfully glad to see Corey able to get out of that car. It took him a good while to get that car turned over, but there he is walking to the ambulance. Yeah, that was you, Corey. This one's going to be a whole lot better outcome, I think, than that Caraway race.
It's been an eventful couple of weeks for Corey Heim. Josh, who do you have?
I'm here with Christian Eckes, one of the guys that's been battling Corey Heim all season long for the regular season championship. But talk to me about this race right now. Obviously, you guys lost some spots on that last pit stop, able to get your way back to third. But what do you have left if we go back racing? I don't know if I have anything for the 11. He was just really good. I just didn't have what it took to do that. But our Napa Auto Care Chevy is pretty solid. I think it's a second or third place truck. So if we go back green here, I think we'll have a shot at it. But overall, just proud of the effort. They got a little tougher there after that pit stop, but we've rebounded okay, and just gotta keep on digging forward. This top 10 streak you guys got going on and in line to keep that going here today. What can you say about the consistency of what this 19 team is doing? Yeah, no, it's been good for sure. The only one outside the top 10 was a DNF at Atlanta, and I felt like we had the best truck there. So just kind of speaks volumes to everybody here at McAnally Hillman Racing. I don't know if we have the race winning truck today, but normally do. So just proud of everybody. Thanks, Christian.
Yeah, that's been a heck of a streak for him. Best of his career, not to mention your 3 wins on the season so far.
There's the first one of the season for him at Bristol. Dominated that race at Bristol.
And we go to the short track to Virginia. Mark Philly does the same thing. Pulls away late, gets another victory. And then the only word to describe the third victory.
Beatdown.
Yeah. Domination. Beatdown's 2 words still, but
Okay, that's very close.
But there he is at victory lane celebrating with his guitar. The interesting thing about Christian at Nashville, usually he says, I don't think our truck's right where it needs to be. I'm not sure this at Nashville. He told me before the race, he said, this thing is right.
He smiled, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a smile on his face before the race. That's something I've never seen before. And then he goes out and leads every lap of the race. And as we said, one word, he's just a beatdown.
Well, let's hear from another driver, Taylor Gray. Amanda?
Yeah, Jamie's currently sitting in the 5th position, said that he does have the truck to get after it if we get back to green. So when you go through your mind of how you would execute this finish, what would you do?
Yeah, man, honestly, it's all about who gets the best restart, right? Who's going to be the most aggressive? Who's going to take the biggest chance to get clean air and get out front? So we have a really good Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. Jeff Hensley done a good job this weekend bringing a really fast truck. Just have to execute. Hopefully get back green here if rain holds off.
When you talk about the restart, there's a lot of anticipation in that start. How do you move through the momentum of what is required in a restart?
Kind of hurt you. I kind of lost you the last half there, but honestly, the biggest thing is just have to focus, just listen to your resources, and just execute a restart.
A good answer for someone that barely heard it, guy.
Well done. How about that stash he's rocking?
Oh, yeah.
Throwback to the 70s. Old school Tricon Jacket 2 looking good, sitting fifth right now too. Happy with that, but ready to get going. 8 laps remaining here. Track drawing continues at Pocono.
Man, we're really using every last bit of this time we have of daylight here to get to 8:20 Eastern. Oh my goodness. Well, this may push back the start of our NASCAR 07 stream just a bit. It'd be such a NASCAR thing to happen where we get back to, like, we do end up getting back to green, and then we just have caution after caution after caution. We end up getting to 8:20 due to, like, multiple overtimes. Then they call the race early because of that anyway. Like, that would be probably the most stereotypical NASCAR finish, I feel like, to a race. And we end up, like, just not finishing this thing under green anyway. Gotta get the World of Outlaws game. Yeah, that's a couple years old now, isn't it? Yeah, I don't even know how many 164 scale diecasts I have. Those are just the 124 scale behind me. 45 NASCAR and 2 IndyCar to make up the 47. 1 Truck Series truck. How many Xfinity ones do I have? Well, they're all technically like the Busch Series era. 1, 2, 3. I think I only have 4 Xfinity. So 4 Xfinity, 1 truck, 2 IndyCar. I do my math correctly. Give me 40. 40 Cup cars. It gives me enough for a full field. Yeah. Making sure I didn't miss any. Yeah, that looks about right. We'll go over some race statistics just in case they call this thing as of right now. Our average speed, 115.5. Oh, hang on.
Since we're under a weather delay right now. Showing some.
Oh my goodness.
Way to the end.
A lot of drivers do too. There's guys that find themselves back at the.
Here we go again.
John, I think you caught up with one of those drivers.
They're calling the drivers to the cars.
This race coming to the end. See a strong points day for you so far. Right now, not in the position you'd like to be because of a pit stop.
Yeah, I just stalled coming into the pit box. Title's really low. Something we probably could have fixed in practice too. So, yeah, it sucks for sure. Gotta start fighting. Hopefully, get a little bit of help from my teammates moving forward. Just, yeah, like you said, really good stage points day. But we're getting back in the truck, so I'm gonna go fight my butt off and get as close to the front as I can. I gotta go get some points.
There you go. Go get it, Dana.
Back to the trucks, he said.
I love that.
Breaking news from Daniel Dye. Not only does he carry his onboard camera with us, he breaks news to us.
Yes.
We don't pay him, do we? We don't have to pay him for the stuff he does, do we?
Truckers getting back in. Shows 6 laps to go now that it's switched over to the yellow. Corey Heim says, all right. I can go out and fight for another 6 laps. So we've had 4 different leaders tonight. Corey Heim has led 48. Christian Eckes led the 11 opening laps. Jake Garcia led 4, and Grant Enfinger shown as leader of 1 lap. Tanner Gray just took a good look at him as he buckles in, sitting 10th. Talk about that cutoff line so much and who's out, who's in. With just 2 races remaining after Pocono before the playoffs, Tanner Gray, 14 points to the good. See it right there. And it's switched around a bit.
Yeah, it has. I'm just going to switch around a bit more. If we throw that green flag, there's going to be a lot of anxious drivers outside the top 10 that will be serious about fighting their way through. And anytime it gets this late in the truck race, it's chaotic, I think is the best word to explain exactly what these restarts do look like.
See the 4 wing stickers right by Corey Hines' name. They're running out of room. They're going to have to start covering up his name.
He'll gladly take his name. Everybody stickers. Love stickers. The stickers are what it's all about.
Chris Buescher really started for the fans that weren't aware of win stickers at Darlington. When he got so upset, he went up and he said, he's got the win sticker. I don't. Well, there they are. You win, you get a sticker to show everybody how many times you've gone to victory lane.
That could help you, or will help you to a championship. That's how important those stickers are. Each one of them 5 playoff points.
Well, it's been a fun and exciting evening so far here at Pocono. A little race recap.
That was the only blemish of the day, pretty much, for Corey Hine.
Yeah, just didn't get the start we thought he would get, but he was able to rally. We'll see that dive racetrack. That's all about aerodynamics, getting away from the other truck.
Grab it in the second spot. The back, yeah. There he is now. Christian Eckes down for the lead.
Riding battle we saw all night.
Yeah, Corey packed him going in the tunnel turn, then Christian did the crossover, got him back, but then Corey stayed on the outside and was able to get the lead back and wins that first stage.
You know what he's going to do also, Phil? We're going to see some great battling throughout the field. You can see Nicholas Sanchez, Jake Garcia, and then getting loose is Rajat Farouk. Be able to keep the gas down, hit the brakes on, and keep that truck out of the outside wall. That was a great move for Rajat. The red flag flies for precipitation in the area.
That incident with Raja was the only caution we've had for incident. The other two, obviously, at the end of the stage breaks.
And while all this was going on, Corey Hine was dominating. Yes, he's been that kind of guy. But just a reminder, when you lead the race and you're going that fast, you're using more gas. So it's still interesting to see these caution laps gain you basically a lap when you make a lap. Under green, you can get 2 under caution. So
yeah, it's close to 1 to 1 to 1. You gain, or 2 for 1, I should say.
And look what you get to take home. Not only do you get to take home that beautiful All-American trophy with the Bald Eagle, you get the Craftsman tools.
That's the deal of the race right there.
Did you get the big Craftsman chain?
Yeah.
I like that too.
Like the medallion.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Like Flavor Flav. Corey Hines racking those up.
Get waffled in.
This is a great sign.
Yes, it is. You can see the sun shining on the spots up at the top of the screen.
You know, I know obviously these caution laps have allowed these teams to save a little more fuel, like you were talking about, Michael. But I'm sure we're still out of the woods yet on some people possibly running out of gas,
Possibly pitting right now as well.
Well, and you mentioned possibility of green white checker too.
and I would think a strong possibility now of green white checker because we know how aggressive these drivers are with such little time left in this race.
Certainly a sense of urgency. And that's one team that's excited to see this. Grant Enfinger.
I think this one as well, Charles and I got the pit box for Christian Eckes.
Wonder what his notebook looks like now. How many pages are left?
I think he just threw it down. He's
Yeah.
done. He said, "You got what you got. We hopefully have enough fuel. Hopefully, if we have some overtime, we have enough fuel. Not much we can do about it right now."
That's why we race. Don't know the outcome.
Remember, Charles went from plan A to plan B,
And then right there. You know, you have a right to change your mind when it's next change.
Yes, you do.
Well, we mentioned that the regular season is winding down. Just 2 races remain after tonight. Next Friday night, my hometown, Indianapolis. We go to Lucas Oil Raceway Park. And you set the scene, Michael, how fun it is to race there. Always good racing, no matter what they're racing out there. under the lights. It's going to be exciting. Let's see some of that too.
Yeah, I was part of the first Busch Series race we ever ran at IRP back in 1982, and I cannot tell you how big a deal that was for NASCAR to go into the Indianapolis market. Yes, it wasn't the Brickyard, but it was a great event there at IRP.
So you see Lucas Oil Raceway Park, July 19th.
Short track.
And Richmond, baby, August 10th. Looking forward to those two races. I know there's a few of our drivers in the field. They are short track specialists, like I suggest. Looking forward to that.
Milwaukee, that's a big track that races like a short track. Call it a short track, even though technically it's not. But we call it. Right.
Wait, we're at Pocono in all three turns. We're named or designed after three different racetracks. Turn 3, Milwaukee Center.
Warming up for the playoffs.
Right.
Turn 1, you know what turn 1's?
Trenton Speedway. And then Indianapolis Motor Speedway, turn 2. This track was designed by 1962 Indy 500 winner, Roger Ward. That'd be fun.
Two-time Indy winner.
There it is.
It's been long straightaway there, up to 185 or 90 miles an hour. There's that Trent, turn number 1, kidney-shaped racetrack at Trent.
Then turn 2, based off what we have at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
The Milwaukee Mile, always fun to go to Milwaukee. We'll be there for the first race of our playoffs.
How fun to be a race car driver, though, and sit down and they say, okay, here's a piece of paper, here's a pen, you decide what you want. You come back with a triangle.
Initially, they had this racetrack was only 3/4 of a mile. They didn't have enough money to do the full 2.5 mile. So a lot of the early races, the ARCA Series raced here, the modifieds raced here a lot on a 3/4 mile racetrack inside of this. Our brother Benny was actually in that first ARCA race here back in 1969, and Jamie, that race was won by Bobby Watson of Prestonburg, Kentucky.
A lot of history here. So we've seen this already once tonight. Raise the red flag. It is caution. Bring the trucks out, park them here so everybody makes their way into the lineup.
How about a standing start? Just go from here.
Okay.
I don't know about all that.
You're getting crazy on us, bro.
You're going to get them to get out and run over to their trucks like they used to.
And they did do that.
Yeah.
You know, I was told back in the day that those drivers would jump in those cars and take off, and they wouldn't put their belts on until they got to the Mulsanne Straight.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Man, this is exciting. I'm gonna get to see these 3 or 4 laps of green flag racing if we're lucky, or if everybody makes it, because just, if they throw the green flag with 2 or 3 laps to go, I really doubt that everybody gets back without some contact. You could see some overtime.
I think that's the last caution.
I don't think it is.
We've been pretty calm tonight.
29 trucks on the lead lap.
Here the fans fired up. They've waited all day. It has been a long day. It always is for the truckers. They show up that day. The garage opens. They work on their trucks. They have 20 minutes of practice, which, by the way, there was a little rain delay then. Then they made the switch over to qualifying, and then there was another delay there, and then they had to cancel qualifying. And then there was a quick turnaround. A couple hours later, we fired them up to start the race, got most of it in. And then the rain came with 8 laps to go.
8:30 this morning is when the truck garage opened for these teams.
We will be finished by 8:30 Eastern because we will run out of light. They don't have lights at this racetrack. Everybody asked Bob Pockris, do they have lights at the track? Bob would say, no.
And we should be fine. Obviously, 8:20 is what NASCAR has set for the time that this race would be theoretically close to over after a white flag and a checker. But I don't think we're gonna, unless we get a bunch of overtime. So we're not gonna approach that.
What about that race at Nashville, the Cup race? How many people were running out of gas?
31 laps.
31 laps of overtime?
Yeah.
That's a lot of overtime.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Got Raja Caruth at 9th right now after that contact with Connor Mozak. His truck really didn't have any damage on it. Lost a couple spots.
There's probably nobody in the field that wants this race restarted more than this young man right here, Daniel Dow.
We're going to open pit road this time by. See how many people were telling us straight up they thought they were going to make it. See somebody dart on pit road. That'd be a really hard pit stop to overcome, I think.
I think if I'm outside the top, there's so many trucks on the lead lap, though. But you can fan out on these restarts. So if I'm outside the top 15, I'm going to think about it. Possibly, I don't know that I could. I would have the guts to do it if I'm inside the top 15. How about you, Michael?
I agree with you 100%. Get enough fuel in that thing right now if you're out that far, and if there is a couple overtimes, you never know how far up front you can get. Pit road. See if anybody decides to get a little insurance policy here with some fuel.
Yeah, nobody else.
Not interested.
Road is open. We choose the next time. Here we got some action down here.
The back?
Yeah. Looks like Bailey Curry, the
Penthouse?
Penthouse, Jake Garcia. Yeah.
33, Wallace Allen. They're all going to pick up a little insurance with their fuel. Never know what'll happen up front.
16th is for Bailey Curry. So we said, Michael, just outside the top 15, and that's exactly what happened.
And you saw those sticker tires go on there. We have seen some fall off in the tires throughout the course of a long run, but probably going to need, like I said, a little overtime action if he's able to take advantage of this stop.
And that's one thing Jeff Stankiewicz said when we interviewed him after the first stop, which he said there's a little bit of fall off on the tires, but again, nobody inside the top 15 came to pit road.
Sage Karam, Luke Fenhouse, a couple of guys we don't usually see in the Truck Series. Luke making his second start, finished 10th in his Truck Series debut at Gateway, in his 66 for Thor's 4th.
Sage making his second Truck Series start.
Congratulations to Sage, by the way, became a new dad for the first time, actually, just a month ago. Jetson is his son's name. They live in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania. So a home racetrack for Sage.
See what Ross is thinking. We talked to him early before the race, Phil, and he said he was going to be calm and take it easy. Now he's in fourth, and there's only a couple laps to go. You think he ramps her up?
Yes.
Okay, let's ask him. Hey, Ross, it's Michael Waltrip in the Fox Sports team. Do you copy me? Hey, it's the Fox Sports team. Do you copy? I want to ask you a question.
But you can tell Ross I said hello.
Thanks, Sage. If we can hold to Ross, I'll tell him you sent your best.
Sounds good.
Well, we were just talking about Sage. So hello, Sage.
He's from this area. Nice to check in on Sage.
Well, airtime.
Always fun to see who you find on somebody else's radio.
We should play radio roulette. Just spin it, see who we land on.
It's nice of him to say hello to Ross, too.
I think that guy.
Wishing him the best.
Should be really critical here. We're coming to the
You guys hear that?
this time.
I want to be on the outside, but I'm
Always going to take the outside.
I don't want to give up a row, so I think if I'm green, I go to the bottom.
He's fading towards the bottom right now. That will probably allow Christian Eckes to jump to the outside. Well,
No, we're behind him.
how about that? Grant Enfinger is going to stay to the outside. Christian Eckes will restart this race right inside of his arch nemesis, Corey Hine.
And the thing about it is, it's hard to hold that bottom lane, and your truck wants to get loose. It wants to slide up. So when you do go up top, when you're Grant Enfinger, you're taking a chance on somebody sliding into you. I think if you're Corey Hine, you're confident you can get the jump on the start and take the turn yourself. But when you make the decision Grant just made, it could be dicey.
Let's listen to Grant Enfinger's radio.
Grant's got a plan.
What do you think that is?
Push, push, push from behind. Get Corey out in front of him and try to see if he can deal with him after that. You got to shove, and that's the fastest truck.
I think Grant's just thinking to himself, I can't risk going down in turn one on the inside of that truck. I want to be behind.
The inside has shown to be a bit of a disadvantage on the starts, and we saw Corey Heim have a struggle the initial start of the race, lost a number of positions. Every other leader has taken the outside for these restarts.
Shaking those tires, weaving his truck back and forth, making sure he gets all the excess rubber filled up off of them and go race.
So we'll have 3 laps to go when we take the green here. And the front row looks just like it did when we dropped the initial green flag. Just flip-flops.
Assuming that we don't get any caution flags, we're going to have 3 laps to go. I'd be shocked if we couldn't hold it.
I would be too. There's just too much on the line. No, you could just push a little bit harder and you step over that line, and next thing you know, you got trucks spinning.
All right, 3 laps at 7.5 miles. Fuel mileage could be an issue here on this restart. Green flag is back in the air. Corey Heim and Christian Eckes are on the front row. Good start initially here for Eckes through the restart zone. Now looking to get a push from behind into the first turn. Much better push on the outside. Oh, Eckes nearly gets turned, but saves it into turn 1. Chastain was all over him. Definitely made significant contact. Corey Heim is easily clear with the race lead off turn 1. And Eckes not only held on to his truck, but is still on the inside of Enfinger for second place as they race for turn 3. Side by side for that position still. Taylor Gray in the mix. Couple trucks further back made contact with the wall off turn 2. We continue to stay green. There will be 2 laps to go this time by at the line. Heim 0.7 of a second out ahead of Grant Enfinger. That's the intervals between first and second. Christian Eckes is 1.1 seconds back in third. Taylor Gray 1.5 seconds back in fourth. And Ross Chastain fell to fifth on that restart. He was the inside of row 2 initially. Chastain's 2.2 seconds off the lead. Stuart Friesen went from 10th to 6th on that restart. And Matt Crafton up in the top 10 for the first time today as well, as he sits in 9th. So those two are moving forward following this restart. And both those drivers below the cutoff line coming into the race initially. I cannot believe that Eckes not only saved the truck, but was still able to hold on to third place through all that. He's got a shot at second as he has ran down Enfinger. White flag this time by about a 7 to 8 of a second lead for Corey Heim. The only question is for Corey is, can he make it around this tricky triangle one more time on fumes? White flag in the air, 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Heim with nearly a 1 second lead. Battle for second into turn 1 between Eckes and Enfinger continues. Eckes to the inside, Enfinger on the outside. Grant's going to get a better run up off the exit of the corner. Eckes can't hang on the left rear corner panel enough and has to hop in the draft behind him. Try to regain that momentum with 2 corners to go. Eckes again with a dive to the inside in turn 2. Can't get underneath the 9 there. Had to lift off the exit of the corner to keep it off the wall. Enfinger drives away from Eckes into turn 3 in that battle for second. And for the final time, lap 70. After a very lengthy multiple red flag scenario in the final 10 laps of this race, Corey Heim will still remain the leader and win at Pocono. A max points day for Corey Heim, winning both stages and the race. 60-point day for him as he closes the gap on Eckes for that regular season championship battle. 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 2 seconds total time on the race today. That was with the red flags included. At an 84.59 mile per hour average race speed. And it was only that slow because for some reason they were under caution for that final red flag period for about a good 10-15 minutes or so. Because the race pace before that, I believe the average speed was over 120 miles an hour. So that killed that. But yeah, 70 laps in the longest truck race at Pocono. So Corey Heim is going to get the win. What looked to be a fuel mileage race until the caution came out for rain, and that had allowed for everybody to make it on fuel to the end. from their scenarios they were at the time. 1/8 of a second margin of victory for Corey Heim. 29 trucks finished on the lead lap. I mentioned Heim won the first 2 stages and the race. He also obviously led the most laps with that. 55 laps led for Heim out of 70. Christian Eckes led the first 11 from the pole. And Jake Garcia led 4 laps during the caution period after winning the race off pit road on a 2-tire strategy back at stage number 2, or at the end of stage 2 leading into stage 3. 4 cautions today, 3 for incident. 4 cautions today, 1 for incident. And that was the spin for Raja Caruth in turn 1 back on lap 44. We had the 2 stage ends at lap 15, lap 30, and the initial rain caution at lap 61 with 9 laps to go. So that is giving us the finish of this race here today. You'll get to hear from race winner Corey Heim on his front stretch interview. We'll quickly blow through the finishing results first. Again, Corey Heim with the race win. 2nd place for Grant Enfinger. 3rd place for Christian Eckes. 4th was Taylor Gray. Ross Chastain rounds out the top 5 and 5th. 6th place for Chase Purdy. Stuart Friesen 7th. Matt Crafton 8th. Dean Thompson 9th. And Raja Caruth snuck in there with a top 10 late on that last restart as well, finishing 10th. Matt Mills finishes 11th. Brett Holmes 12th. Nick Sanchez 13th. Tyler Ankrum 14th. Connor Mosack 15th. Daniel Dye 16th. Bailey Curry 17th. Ben Rhodes 18th. Tanner Gray 19th. And Zane Smith 20th. Jake Garcia 21st. Luke Fenhouse 22nd. Timmy Hill 23rd. Mason Massey 24th. Ty Dillon 25th. Chris Wright 26th. Mason Maggio 27th. Justin Carroll 28th. Ad Moffitt 29th. Lane Riggs, first truck a lap down in 30th. Ty Majeski, 2 laps down in 31st. Lawless Allen, 2 laps down in 32nd. Sage Karam, 3 laps down in 33rd. Brian Dozit, 34th, 5 laps down. 2 DNFs today with Stefan Malozzi finishing 35th. And Spencer Boyd last in 36th. Both the red flags combined ended up lasting over a half hour easily there. And again, Corey Heim, your race winner, and here he is with his front stretch interview.
Thanks, Corey. Very happy. There's his team. They always come out to greet him.
It is Heim time. For the 5th time this year, Corey Heim has won in the Craftsman Truck Series.
We have seen it all. Amanda with winner. You can see Corey Heim being congratulated by his team as he heads over to grab that checker flag that he earned here on that restart and to the domination that he had here during that race. You'll go back to the start of the race, and we talked to Scott Zipadelity right after the start about Corey Heim and the trust that he has for this driver. The battles that he had on track with Christian Eckes today. And boy, do we get to see that for the rest of the season. Hello, come on. Corey, it is your 5th win on the season. After the start of this race, we talked to your crew chief, and he told us the trust that he has in you as a driver in Nashville. You told me that you are the guy this season. Where does this innate trust come from, Corey?
I think Scott, right from the very beginning, Scott and I, rather, how we've had such a close bond, and he just does such a phenomenal job getting me fast, safe light on the charity pros every week. And this week wasn't any different. This thing was badass. Got a badass crew, badass truck week in and week out, and just so proud of these guys. Can't say enough about the 5 wins. It's something I never thought I'd achieve in a single season, but here we are. We got many more to go, so I'm pumped. It's awesome.
Does this put to peace last season?
No, not at all. I mean, you go to win every race, and I don't know. I mean, just looking back at last season, we can have a lot more potential, but we're focused on 2024. We got all the potential in the world right now. So huge get a safe flight, Toyota Racing, Truck on Garage, just such a phenomenal day for us.
The rain is falling, and Corey Heim is your winner here at Pocono. Josh?
Right, Enfinger comes home second today. We heard you come over the radio, tell the team you have a plan. Let's see if it works out. What was that plan going into that final restart?
Man, I just felt like the outside road would stay organized. And I was counting on the bottom road getting unorganized to where we could we could clear him, halfway down the front straightaway there, and maybe I could have made a move on Corey. I still feel like that was probably my best play. Just didn't fan out very well. Ross did a great job of pushing Christian. They did a great job keeping that bottom lane connected, and we just didn't have enough to clear them before we went into turn one. Feel like overall, still very, very proud of this non-much. Everybody at CRC Motorsports has done a really, really good job. This is a really great truck, best truck I've had here. Wish we could have pulled it off, but I feel like from an execution standpoint, pit road, restarts, just setup, unloading, everything went well today. We still got ways to improve. We still got small details to work on, but very happy about when things are going and the plans.
Our finish for Grant Enfinger here at Pocono. We're going to walk over here and check in with Christian Eckes. And Christian, talk to me about that final restart and that save, because things could have got a lot worse than a third place finish on you for the day.
Yeah, that didn't go very well. Yeah, I think I was coming up a little bit to, never mind, I was coming up. It was just bad push, I guess. But, yeah, proud of the team effort. We were 17th or so on that one restart and came back and finished third. So, proud of everybody. Thanks to Napa Auto Care, Gates, everybody involved on IRP.
Keeping that top 10 streak going for Christian Eckes. Jamie?
Yeah, valiant effort by him, gave it his all.
Well, we got interviews there with the top 3 finishers from the race today. We've gone through over all the race stats. Now it's time to look at the playoff standings with just 2 races remaining in the regular season for the Craftsman Truck Series. Those 2 races at Indianapolis Raceway Park next week and next month at Richmond. About 4 weeks off in between those 2 races, by the way. As far as this one goes, again, only 4 drivers locked into the playoffs with wins. 5 for Corey Heim now, 3 for Christian Eckes, Nick Sanchez with 2, and 1 for Raja Caruth. Ty Majeski plus 125 points over 2 races to the good. 49 points to the good is Tyler Ankrum. Grant Enfinger plus 46, plus 39 for Taylor Gray. Ben Rhodes only plus 18. And Daniel Dye moves above the cutoff line, came into the day minus 14 points. He is now plus 1 over Tanner Gray. Even with that slow pit stop he had during the stage 2 break, he was still able to get above the cutoff line despite not getting a top 10 finish, as he scored a ton of stage points in this race. Tanner Gray, as I mentioned, minus 1 point below Daniel Dye is the first driver out. Stuart Friesen also cut his deficit down quite a bit. He was minus 17 coming into the day. He is now only minus 4. So very tight, only 4 points separating 10th through 12th in the standings. 47 points to the negative is Matt Crafton. He came in minus 54, and Chase Purdy, who came in minus 63, is now minus 52, with, again, 2 races to go in the regular season for the Craftsman Truck Series. So, that is that. And that is going to end up wrapping up our stream here today. Hopefully you enjoyed our full race coverage of the CRC Brakleen 175 at Pocono. Again, we will have NASCAR coverage through the rest of the weekend. Our next live commentary stream will be at noon Eastern Time tomorrow with the NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying stream at Pocono. So again, noon Eastern Time tomorrow afternoon. Cup practice and qualifying all in the same stream. The NASCAR Xfinity Series race will be on a separate stream beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. And then again at 2 p.m. Eastern, we will go live on Sunday for our NASCAR Cup Series race coverage. We will have NASCAR 7 tonight, obviously not beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern, as we're past that time with the rain delay in the middle of this race. But we did get to see the full finish, and we will still have NASCAR 7 tonight. I just got to get something to eat here first, and then I'll go live as soon as I can after. So probably plan about 8:30, quarter till 9, we'll start the NASCAR 7 stream here tonight still. So a little delay, obviously, with the rain delay we had on this one. But, yep, hope to see you for that. Hope to see you for the streams tomorrow, Sunday. And thanks for watching, everybody.